going on there, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circular Jerks Podcast. It's our weekly live stream where we talk about the news, current events, have little discussions about do some like thought experiments here and there, and of course our movie review. And seeing as it's the first Tuesday of the month, you know what that means? It's a new theme. And this month will be Hollywood couples. So all the movies that we'll be watching and reviewing will be starring Hollywood couples, legendary pairings. Whether or not they are still together is irrelevant.
Well, I think all the Hollywood couples we're talking about, they're all dead. So.
Fair point.
Except for tonight's female, Joanne Woodward. She's still alive, but I hear she has dementia, unfortunately. So, which is sad to hear. But I think she's the only one of the couples that we're talking about that's still alive.
The first movie for this month's theme of Hollywood couples is Paris Blues, starring Paul Newman, Joanna Woodward, Sidney Poitier, with a special appearance by the great Satchmo, with Louis Armstrong.
Music done by Duke Ellington.
So something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But with me as ever is the homeboy Rob.
What's going on, everybody?
I hope you guys are comfortable and you have a drink handy. So let's get into it.
I have my beer that's fit for a banquet, Coors.
Of course. And I like a cheap man is just drinking water.
This is kind of like my one night of the week that I get to drink, so that's why I do it.
Yeah. I mean, I would, but I would drink, but I'm skipping my dinner time right now, so I don't want to drink on an empty stomach.
Oh yeah, that'd be a bad idea.
Yeah, because especially because it's like on my end, I'm the one flipping the switches and whatever. For the stream, and so and I'm fine, everybody. I'm fine.
I'll do the drinking for both of us. How about that?
There you go. But anything new to report on your end, Rob? I think this is the first weekend in a while that we didn't hang out.
Yeah, actually, well, unfortunately, we didn't get to hang out this past Sunday. We ended up with James watching the new movie Knock at the Cabin, and the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, and that movie was almost great, but it's not. I don't want to give too much away because
I was just about to ask you if you could give us a quick little overview of it without revealing too much.
I'll say this about the film. The acting performances are phenomenal, especially the little girl. My goodness, she is a great. She's going to be a great actress. I can see it right now.
You foresee a long career for her.
I see a long career in her future. She was phenomenal. Okay. Dave Bautista put in a really awesome performance. Apparently, the redheaded guy that's Ron Weasley from the Harry Potter movies. I had no fucking idea.
He's in this movie?
Yeah. He's great in it too. He did a great job. So the acting performances were phenomenal. The writing was, as far as the dialogue goes, was really good. Where the movie falls short, they needed to do one of two things. They either needed to give more background as to why this particular family was chosen, for their why they had to sacrifice themselves. There needed to be maybe a little bit more background as to why, and more background into what these people had been seeing, or what I think would have been a better is like I was telling James like what I thought of what I was hoping for was like a little bit more of a darker twist to the film
Mm,
where they're being asked to make this sacrifice and they do, and the twist is that it was all bullshit and it turned out to just be like these crazy people that convinced this family to be crazy themselves and make this sacrifice for no reason.
right. Well, I mean, M Night Shyamalan, you're always expecting some sort of twist, and so
Yeah, yeah. Now I
yeah, I
know this.
think. Well, yeah, because I don't know what the movie's about or anything, but I know like from the previews that I said, yeah, there's like some like religious, you know, maybe zealots, and they take this family hostage and they tell them like, oh, it's your destiny to die or whatever, just to save the world. And yeah, that would have been kind of it'd be kind of like the Village in that way, where like this cloistered community, and we think that it's in you know um, you know uh, the early like you know late 17 early 1800s, but it
Yeah,
turns out to be in modern times.
God, that movie is underrated. That movie is fucking phenomenal.
Hmm.
Um, and but yeah, like like I said, it's not a bad movie. Like it's not like I don't hate it. I did. It's not like where I went out of the theater and like, well, fuck this bullshit. It
Hmm.
wasn't like that. It just felt
Hmm.
like to me the ending didn't work for me. I know for some people they really liked it. I'm here. From all the stuff I saw on Twitter, people watch this like, man, this is great. I really like this film. It's back to classic M Night Shyamalan, all that stuff, and if people liked it, that's awesome. I'm glad that you really liked it. I feel like for me, the ending felt just like a little flat, to me, it wasted these great performances from these actors because it just. I think there could have been a little. It could have been a little bit better, and I know this is based off of a. I think this is based off of a book
Hmm.
or some sort of novella or something like that. And so I don't know how close. And I've never read it, so I don't know how accurate they were to like the story whatever. But this wasn't like an original idea, and maybe that's
Right.
why they tended to not go that like super dark route that I was thinking that they would have gone.
Hmm.
Um, and I thoroughly enjoyed his previous film called Old.
Hmm.
That movie is to me. I don't know why. Maybe I was in the right mindset. I was watching it with the right people.
Hmm.
It just hit me in the right way, and I really love that film. And I
Hmm.
think that film was way better than this one. Um, and I was talking with Heidelberg about that today. He's like, "Are you insane? Old sucks."
Yeah. With M Night Shyamalan, this may seem like a backhanded compliment for him, Tim, but or uh, but he doesn't do mediocre.
No, it is
It's
it
either
is
it's either oh my god, this is the most brilliant thing I've ever seen, or that sucked.
yeah.
He
And
doesn't do middle of the road.
I can say that most of his movie I am mostly positive about. I'm positive about most of his films. Obviously, there are a few like, yeah, I don't like this.
Mm,
You know, I can't say I hate this film. I really don't. Like it just for me, what bothers me is just like, man, it's so close to being really good, and it just isn't. And
mm,
that I mean that always frustrates me. It's like when it's when like Icarus reaching a little too high for the sun and his the wings melt. That's kind of what this film felt to me.
mm,
Um, but like I said, I don't want to discourage anybody. I think people should check it out, especially if you're an M Night fan. And a lot of people liked it. It's like
mm,
don't just take my word for it. Honestly watch the movie for yourself and see if you like it. And if you do, that's great. I would love to hear why people like it. To be honest,
mm,
and maybe it's just my personal preference. I tend to like um, dark dark movies. Like, you know, sometimes I want to have like one where it doesn't leave me feeling comfortable at the end. So that's just me, and you know, I kind of, unfortunately, we did kind of miss you at the being there, but you had other things going on, which is totally cool. The other thing I did this weekend, I got a chance to to do a Shaft marathon, which was so much fun. So because from, you know, what I was sharing with you with like the movies I got the original Shaft on Blu-ray, so I got a chance to watch that. What I hadn't seen that in a long time, so I rewatched that. I watched the original sequels, which I had never seen, and those are all pretty good, not as good as the original. And then I watched the Sam Jackson remakes. Whoa, those movies are fun too. Because I'm one of those guys that I'm so I really don't like remakes for the most part. This is one that is a top quality remake. Like Sam Jackson, he really is kind of the heir apparent to Richard Roundtree in a lot of ways, because he has that toughness to him. And what I also like too is that they not only did they have Richard Roundtree there, they also, or at least the first one from 2000, they had Gordon Parks, the original director, you know, come on and like, you know, play a part in the film too. So it was honoring the original while, you know,
Did Richard Roundtree pass away?
No, he's still alive. He was in the 2019 one.
Oh, okay. So he was okay.
Yeah, he's still, I think he's 80 now. He was actually pretty young when he played Shaft initially. But yeah, I love both of the, and so the 2019 one and the 2000 one, they are not like separate movies. They are connected.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like just some like random like, oh, let's just do it again. No, it's actually, I would technically call it Shaft 2. Although it does something a little bit different than the first one.
So it's not exactly a follow-up to the events of the first Sam Jackson one, but just kind of like a continuation of the story.
Yeah, it's
continuation of the character. Continuation of that character.
Yes. And it is fucking fun. Dude, I had so much fun watching both of those. I didn't think I was gonna have that much fun, but god damn, it was so good. The originals were so much fun. And
when I initially watched the Sam Jackson 2000 one, I don't think I enjoyed it that much, but maybe I need to give it another look. And then the 2019 one, I heard really good things about.
Dude, it is
particularly just like kind of like the, you know, the anti-snowflake kind of message.
God, I love, dude. Sam Jackson was like, he was amazing in it. I liked the kid who played the lead. He was really great in it. You know, Richard Roundtree, like, you know, he was there as well, and he kicked ass too. He was only in the film for like maybe, you know, the last act, but god damn, he was great too. Like, and even at like 80 years old, he's still got it, man. It's a fun film. It's you know, one of the few like kind of like rebooted franchises that to me works. And I don't know if we'll get another one. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna probably utilize more of like the new guy, the kid, but he's good too. Like I honestly, I would be okay with him taking the role of John Shaft and moving forward. And maybe they'll do another one. I don't know. I certainly hope so. And kind of keeping in like the same vein, you know, because it's like I said, it's not making fun of the original. I think it honors the original while at the same time doing its own thing and being like a modern film at the same time. So it's yeah, for me it just I ended up not really sleeping Sunday night while I was finishing up the last, you know, the 2019 Shaft, but it was totally worth it. So that was kind of like my weekend. Nothing like nothing too exciting. I went to Koreatown, had some food down there. With kind of had like a little bit of a date night with my wife. But other than that, like nothing too special. Just had a bunch of time, so I watched some Shaft. Not sure what I'm gonna watch next. Like, other than like the stuff that we're doing for reviews. But like now that I have all these like awesome Blu-rays, it's like now I'm like torn. Like, what do I watch?
Right. Before it was famine, now it's a feast.
Yeah, now it's definitely a feast.
That's cool.
But yeah, we will eventually do. We might do like I was thinking like we should probably do like a blaxploitation month of some sort because I mean we already did Boss, which is I think one of the greatest movies ever made. But
One of the greatest theme songs ever.
Dude,
with probably with one of the greatest sassy comebacks in one of the best sassiest comebacks committed to celluloid.
God, I honestly I think I'm just gonna watch that movie again this week just because I love it so much. I think I'm gonna have to buy that on Blu-ray at some point. I love that movie.
Right.
But another Fred Williamson movie I want to watch and like potentially review which I've heard is really good, is Black Caesar, which is based off. It's kind of like the blaxploitation version of, I think it's called Little Caesar, the one with Edward G. Robinson. I think it's called Little Caesar. That's like one of his like 40s gangster films.
Okay, because I was about to ask, is that the same? Was that the same movie as like maybe they're like lampooning in Hail Caesar, the Coen Brothers movie? But that's
that's a good question. I don't know. I've never seen that Coen Brothers film either. So.
Yeah, neither have I. So but I know it's it's kind of poking fun at old Hollywood, the sword and sandal type movies and like the actors.
So like the Little Caesar, I think with the one with Edward G. Robinson is a gangster film. Let me
okay, right, okay, because in the Coen Brothers one, they're like making fun of the old Hollywood system and and then like they're using the backdrop of like the sword and sandals movie about like Julius Caesar.
Yeah, so it's from 1931. It's an aspiring small town criminal, Caesar Rico Bandello, which is played by Edward G. Robinson, relocates to Chicago to hit the big time, accompanied by his buddy Joe Massara. Douglas Fairbanks is in this. Okay. While Rico makes a name for himself in the underworld, Joe decides to leave the life of crime and ventures into show business, where he meets the lovely dancer Olga. Though Rico and Joe try to honor their friendship, eventually their choices take them down dramatically different paths. And supposedly, it's like a little crime movie, but Black Caesar is kind of like the blaxploitation take on this film, from what I understand. And I've heard actually like of the blaxploitation films, in Fred Williamson films, people think that Black Caesar is his best. So I'm kind of curious to check that out. I want to watch some of the Pam Grier stuff, like Copy or Foxy Brown, which I've never seen. Although I did watch. I love Jackie Brown, the Tarantino film. Unfortunately, that's not streaming anywhere anymore right now for some fucked up reason. I don't understand why. It was on HBO for a little bit, and it was on Amazon for a bit, and it's kind of like bounced around, but now it's just nowhere. So I don't know if it's just like in limbo. And this is also the reason why, like, as much as I do enjoy like the all the streaming sites and stuff like that, there's a few of these films that seem to always fall through the cracks somehow, and you never can find them. So owning physical media tends to eliminate that problem. What was the other one I really want to watch? Yeah, like I said, Shaft is like, I think Shaft is like the quintessential blaxploitation film. Everyone knows Shaft.
What about Superfly?
Oh, Superfly is another one. Car Wash is another one that is really good. although it's more of a modern one. I don't. Have you ever watched Pootie Tang?
No, but I'm aware of it.
Oh man, dude, that film is
That's Chris Rock, right?
Pootie Tang. I don't
I'm
know.
pretty
I don't
sure.
know. Let me see if he's in that. But that film is so much fun. Yeah, yeah. Chris Rock, Lance
Yeah,
Kruther,
I
One
think that's
Sykes.
what I think that movie is what really like blew him up.
That might be. It's a really good. It's a
Yeah, I
fun.
know. I know it's a cult classic. You know.
That would be a film that I would buy too. That's how much I really like that film. But yeah, so I was thinking about like potential future um, themes, and blaxploitation is one that we did touch on with Boss, but not with these other films. And they definitely deserve their place. They're at a point when Hollywood was changing and these great films were being made, and or we could watch the horrible Man from Harlem.
Fuck you, dude.
uh, which is great in its own right, but god damn, it's really like it sucks.
It's awful. It's garbage. All right, it is utter garbage. Right. And yeah,
But no, I would
and of
choose.
course, yeah, of course you would, because you're a sadomasochist.
Yeah, I love shit like that. It's not good, but it's fun
Yeah,
at
but
the
then you
same time.
also take delight in the torture of watching basically you enjoy other people's reactions to it, knowing that they fucking hate it.
Those films are fun to like. You grab some beers, you have some of your friends, and you enjoy just like the experience. It's and you make fun of
It's
the
god
films.
awful, dude. It's god awful. No, but see, you don't like. Well, you do let people know that it's a piece of shit, but people don't expect things to be that shitty though. You gotta at least
Oh,
you gotta give it
okay.
that. All right, because when people say, "Oh yeah, this is a bad movie," but it's fun because it's a bad movie, it's like okay, but I mean, like fucking Wizzo the Clown, that's fucking sadistic, dude. That shit was fucking sadistic.
Oh. I was gonna say we all had a great time watching Birdemic together. We had a great time watching that.
Oh god. Okay, Birdemic is a little bit is more tolerable than fucking Wizzo the Clown. All right,
I would agree.
because of the quality is so laughable that that you kind of let it go how shitty it is.
Speaking of Birdemic, I think tomorrow on I think it's either on the Rip. Is it? Yeah, I think it's the Rip Tracks YouTube channel. They are having a watch along with the star of the film, who can't even fucking walk while he's acting. He's gonna be doing kind of a watch along with fans of the fans of the film tomorrow. I think around I think it's like from 5 to 7. Um, so I think I'm gonna try to jump on to watch that because that sounds awesome. That's probably one of my favorite bad films. Like it's really bad, but it's I think it's gained quite a cult following.
What do you want me to say, dude? You have shitty taste in movies.
I wish I could get you into some of these like they deserve their place in history too. Like I I grew up watching a bunch of like Ed Wood and Roger Corman films that are they're the king of like the B
Yeah, the
low
B schlock movie. Yeah,
but like some of them are really good. Some of them are really like. Have you ever watched like Little Shop of Horrors?
the non-musical one.
The non-musical one, the original one.
No, then no.
Well, one interesting thing about that film: one, it's good. Two, it was done in 2 days.
What? Wait, how
It is
long is the
the.
movie?
I think it's like an hour and 10 minutes.
All right, so hour and change.
But it is I think it's the fastest I think it's the fastest film recording in history.
Wow, 2 days.
And well, so
Dude, they probably didn't do more than one take.
Fuck no, of course not. They did like a bunch of rehearsal beforehand.
Right.
And like they had like an idea of what they were doing, and Roger Corman is like he is the cheapest guy in Hollywood, but none of his films have lost. But he's always made money on every film he's done, which is also fucking amazing for one. And the urban legend about this film is like, oh, that it was done on it was done on a dare. It was done on a dare, like that. Oh, he could, because someone I think had made a film in like 3 days. It's like, I don't think anyone can do it faster. It's like he's like, challenge accepted. That's the urban legend. The reality was that it was probably because there were some like laws or some of the rules were changing, and like as far as filming goes, and so he trying to save money was like, well, we're gonna film a movie in like this amount of time, and we want to beat out like this before this rule changes over because I can save money. So one of them is true. I just don't know what is. But yeah, he filmed it in 2 days. It's like fucking insane.
Okay.
But it's still really good. Like is it Casablanca or Citizen Kane or Raiders of the Lost Ark? No. But is it fun? Is it enjoyable? Absolutely, it's fun.
Okay. Well, yeah, because the only Little Shop of Horrors I've watched is the musical one.
I have actually
which
never.
There's only 2 other musicals that I have like room in my heart for, and that's The Sound of Music, and of course Blues Brothers, the only suitable male musical.
I can count, I think, on one hand the musicals I like. Okay, that's Blues Brothers. I guess you're right. That is a musical, so that's there.
Right, it's the only suitable male. It's the only suitable male musical.
There is The Producers. That's another one that I like. The original West Side Story is awesome. I do enjoy Grease. I'm sorry, I do. And then I think the other one is for me is The King and I. I like The King and I. Okay. Mainly because I like
Yul Brynner.
It's because I like Yul Brynner. That's 90% of the reason why I watch that.
Fair enough.
But I always forget. Yeah, I always forget about Sound of Music. That would probably be number 6. And then the Singing in the Rain would probably be number 7. They're the honorable mentions.
Okay.
Oh, and actually, I had to also throw in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, that's so gay.
Oh, come on.
That's so gay. All right. Whatever.
Rocky Horror.
It's your list. It's your list. Whatever. Awesome. I don't care. Whatever. All right. Yeah, but I bet you watch it with your, as you drink your homo drink, the mojito.
Oh my God! You don't like Rocky Horror Picture Show, and you don't like my mint mojitos. Come on.
Yeah, because I'm not a homo, Robert. All right, that's why. That is why. Because I'm not a homo.
Now, do I cosplay as characters from Rocky Horror Picture Show? No, I'm not that much of a fan of it. But do I enjoy it when I watch it? Oh, 100%.
All right, Poofter, whatever.
You're crazy, dude. You are insane. But anyways, that was my weekend. I did enjoy my Shaft weekend. That was a lot of fun. Probably I think I might just dive into some more blaxploitation this week, just because I really enjoyed just to kind of see some of the films I haven't seen, like I said, Black Caesar, Foxy Brown, Coffee, stuff like that. I'm definitely gonna rewatch Boss because that would be just. I'm gonna buy the Blu-ray of that. I don't care. I'm gonna find that and buy it because I think that it's one of the greatest films of all time. It just
It
is.
is. It is that we are in agreement.
But yeah, that was my week. But why don't we dive into some topics?
All right, let's get into some topics. You know what? Let's start with the Starbucks one because that's gonna be relatively short. So let's get that out of the way.
All right.
But yeah, we really just came up with this topic last minute because we didn't know exactly. So we knew one of the things we were going to talk about. And of course that's the balloon thing, and we'll give our 2 cents. But I just remember coming across this other story about because it reminded me because just yesterday, on my Instagram feed, I follow an account called like Street People of Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and so this person put up a video from a fire at a Chase Bank branch, and in the caption it had the address or the cross streets of this said bank, and it's one where it's relatively close to Robert's house.
By my favorite pub place.
By your favorite pub place, and so I was reading the description, and I kind of like the reporting on it, and it was apparently started by it was a trash fire started by 2 homeless people, and big and it's been really windy here in the San Fernando Valley, bit of the Santa Anas. And I guess the winds kicked up the fire and onto the bank building, which then proceeded to burn it down.
We have been racking our brain for, oh God, like maybe the last like week or so. Like, man, what the hell happened to that Chase? Like, I thought like had it been like robbed? Was it vandalized?
Mm-hmm.
Was it what? Or did it just close down? And then we're gonna like
did you pass it? Did you pass it by as recently as yesterday?
I did not pass by it yesterday. I didn't pass by it recently. Like
so maybe it didn't burn down yesterday. Maybe that's my mistake. I saw it yesterday and I assumed that it happened yesterday.
No.
But if it's been at least a week that you've noticed this, then the fire may have happened earlier.
No,
so that's my correction on that.
Yeah, because like the last time I was there was maybe, I think it was Friday. Yeah, I think it was like Friday.
Okay, so within the length of the weekend.
Yeah, so maybe I don't know if it happened like the day before that or whatever, but we're like, because all of a sudden it's like, damn, like because my wife sometimes goes to that Chase Bank quite a bit, like, it's right by the pub place, so let's just stop at the bank. It's like, okay, and so we would do that. It's convenient, and then all of a sudden it's like all the windows are boarded up, and it's like, god damn, what's happening here?
Did you notice any like black smoke damage or like marks?
No, that's the thing. Like all we saw, like now we didn't see the front of it like either. We just saw like kind of it would be like the back
as you're passing by.
Yeah, as you're passing by on
going west on Victory.
Yeah, and it's like, why are the windows all boarded up? Like, it's like, did that branch close for some reason? Like, it's like, maybe they weren't getting enough traffic, so we're gonna close the branch. And it's like, and yeah, I was like, did it get robbed? Did it get vandalized? What happened? Like, and yeah, and then when you told me it was like, oh yeah, it was a bum fire. It's like, Jesus, okay,
Yeah.
that explains a lot.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know why it reminded me, but then it reminded me of this other story that I heard about Starbucks locations and how a lot of them, uh, Starbucks, when the model that they're going with now is, basically, a small little pickup place. So you just go in, put your order, they make the coffee, and that's it. There's no place to sit, nowhere to, plug in your laptop or stick around for a few hours. Um, I think they said that that's the way forward that they're going. And I think this was in San Francisco or one of those one of the big cities. But also like I think through corporate they're sending out the notice that some locations would also just not be allowing anybody to sit in store like anymore, even if they had the space for it. And I'm pretty sure why they're doing this, and it's because of the kind of the lax laws regarding homeless people, and you know um, and one might think that's like, oh well, people, homeless people have probably been using Starbucks, to kind of like camp out for like the daylight hours, forever. It's like yes, but also there hasn't been all of like this crazy, um, you know, what is it? Reform, like kind of criminal reform stuff happening as well,
Right.
and so like people who are being let out of jail, like some of them don't have a family to go back to, and so what happens, they end up on the street, and so because of the excess people on the streets, they're now taking advantage of the generous policies of Starbucks, because they abuse them, you know it's taken away, the privileges are taken away from everybody.
Yeah. Well, and you also notice like the new Starbucks that are popping up. Guess what? Have you noticed how like most of them are just drive-through onlys?
Right. Or yeah, like yeah, it's like exactly. Like a lot of the locations are now basically like a single like narrow kind of storefront, but then there's no place to sit. It's just it's just enough room for the baristas to make your drink, and then for you to go on your merry way.
Some of the new ones that I've seen that have popped up that are kind of like the drive-through only. They look like they kind of reminisce like the old like 1 hour photo huts that like
yeah.
It's like, yeah. God damn, like, and that makes sense that's potentially the reason. Like you had like you couldn't discriminate. Oh, just let everyone use the bathroom and all. It's like, well, no, customers should be using the bathroom. Like they're the ones that paid to be here.
Yeah. And I mean, even like, not all the time, but sometimes, when I'm feeling guilty enough, like if I'm just need to use the bathroom, I'll still go and like order like a small drink
I do the same
a
thing.
small a small like a bag of chips or something. Just out of courteousness.
Yeah.
But some people will think that they are owed this, that they are entitled to using the facilities, like even if they're not customers, even though they don't even do the courtesy of like even getting a water.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, come on. Like, I mean, what are you trying to do? It's and like I said, this is it sucks for everyone involved because now people don't have a place to congregate, like, and where people do a lot of business in Starbucks. Like, hey, they're working on their, papers, or they're studying, or their screenplay, or whatever the fuck they're doing
Right,
over
like
there.
yeah, like a lot of small businesses, they used to use Starbucks as like meeting places, to go over, you know, whatever thing, like next quarter's, goals, or or coming out like some sort of new program for the office, and
Well,
yeah, and to your
part
point,
of
yeah,
this,
as a yeah, like people who are just kind of trying to who trying to shakily trying to get onto their feet, like you have like creatives, like writers, or software developers, or graphic designers who just need a place to work, because you know yeah, you can work out of your apartment or whatever, but there's too many, it's too comfortable, working out of your home. It is a benefit, but there's also some drawbacks, because it's your home, and you're going to view it in a certain way, and you're not
right?
going to be as productive as you were if you had a dedicated space to work.
Yeah, and see, that's where I think, like, this is also a self-inflicted gunshot wound when it comes to Starbucks, which is, in one sense, I'm not feeling super sorry for them. Like, I feel more bad for the customers that are going there,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get to, more back to, like, the homelessness thing, which is kind of, it's but what I think Starbucks started to realize is that, unfortunately, the the policy that they came up with is like the where, oh, well, we're just gonna let anyone use the bathroom regardless of them being a customer or whatever. Well, those bathrooms were getting fucked up big time. Like, I bet, there was graffiti, there was uh toiletries that were being just, misused, like they weren't being used for the proper things. Piss was everywhere. I'm sure there's people shitting on the floor, because they are out of their fucking minds. So you have all this, like, damage and maintenance that's happening in the bathroom. Um, and who knows what else was happening in, like, in like the dining areas too, like, or the coffee drinking areas. Who knows what else was going on there? Like, how much, like, damage was being done, and like how much maintenance, the maintenance
Right.
cost.
Yeah. I
It's like,
mean,
and
yeah.
so
To
they
your
figure, it's
point.
like, well, instead of, like, just saying, like, oh, instead of just coming out and saying, oh, this is a bad idea. We're sorry, to our customers, who are our loyal customers who come every fucking day. Um, Instead of, like, apologizing to them, and it's like, no, okay, we're going to enact a very strict policy, and we're not going to waver from this, like, as far as it comes to, like, our bathrooms and our dining experience. Instead, we're just going to fuck everybody. And so now the people that, forget coming here to, to work, to do your business, to drink your coffee, to have your meal that you buy from us, which is not very cheap, by the way. But the people say, hey, I'm here for a couple hours. Let me buy a coffee. Let me buy this. Let me
Yeah.
let
Let me
me
buy a
make it worth
donut. Let
their
me buy a
time, me
sandwich.
taking up the space.
Let me buy a cake pop.
Yeah,
But yeah.
exactly.
But to the point. Yeah. Because because of the ministry that I run. Um, yeah. I mean, we open our bathroom up, to the homeless guests to come that come use our showers, and there are times. Yeah. Sometimes they shit all over the floor. And like and because I have to clean it up.
Ah, man,
Um,
that's
and it's not,
it,
yeah, and it yeah, it doesn't happen all often, but when it does happen, it's just like, damn, and so I have sympathies for these workers who just got a job to make coffee, right?
yeah,
They weren't, they're not, they didn't take the job because they wanted to help, necessarily help the homeless, or primarily help the homeless, or start a conversation about racism. um, they wanted a job, so they're exchanging their time for money, and
yeah,
that's it. And so I have compassion on those people, and yeah, they're part of the job is to maintain the bathrooms, yes, but when the bathrooms are being abused to the extent that these Starbucks bathrooms are, then you know you have to kind of stop and reevaluate. And and I'm not saying, and I'm not this big cheerleader for Starbucks. I stopped going to Starbucks, especially after all of, like, their woke policies.
Yeah.
Like the
Same here.
whole, like, oh, let's start a conversation about racism. How about you shut the fuck up and give me my drip?
Yeah,
You
but
know?
this is not the only business that's going through this, and it's
Right.
like you have a lot of companies that have, like, they've kind of bowed that like I said, it's a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It's a lot of the times, and you've created these policies, and you're
Or like,
to
or you endorse the policies of the political leaders.
yeah, to
It's
be
not even, it's not even just like the policies of Starbucks, but you've also co-signed the policies of leaders who said, like, oh, you know what, let's do away with cashless bail, or let's do away with cash bail. Let's do this whole reform where it's like, oh, it's no longer against the law to camp outside. It's no longer illegal to take a shit outside. It's no longer it's no longer, or it'll be tolerated if someone steals the copper out of street lights.
jeez.
Yeah,
Oh,
you might think that last one is kind of hyperbolic, but if you've ever noticed, when you're, like, especially at night, when you're driving down a certain street and one side of the street, all of the lights are gone off.
yep, that's
You ever
why.
wonder why that is? That's why, because
I've seen it
yeah, because
happen.
they're stealing they open up the little service cover, and they rip out the copper to steal, to go
Yep.
to sell and buy meth. And that's why, on certain streets, when you look, one side of the street, it's all, the lights are all on, and on the other side of the street, all the lights are off. That's
Yep.
why.
Yep. We
So
also
yeah,
have
so
like the freaking, like, MacGyver homeless people that are, like, hooking up, like, their whatever their whole tent system
dude,
into.
some of them have generators
They're
that
like,
they
no,
run, and then there's this one street, Parthenia, just east of Reseda, and there was a guy with a bum mansion. Like, literally, there was like a train trestle, like kind of like an over, like a
yeah.
span, right? And then, like, the guy, like, up on, like, kind of like an embankment, he flattened out the dirt and built, like, a bum mansion out of pallets, wooden pallets.
I was like,
And he dug out stairs, all the way down to the street that led up to his bum mansion.
that's just like, dude, you're a fucking electrician, dude. Like, just do that.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, in any other context, it'd be impressive.
yeah, it's like they're hot wiring their whole thing so they have, like, electricity in their bum bill. It's like, dude, well, one, it's fucking dangerous, but, like, you've done it to a point where it's like you've done it. It's like you have the tendencies to be an electrician. Why don't you just do that?
Right. But again, yeah, it's like, again, they address the symptom and not the problem, because, like, with the whole, like, stealing copper out of streetlights, their solution is to then fill in the service hatch. So instead of, like, making that shit illegal and, like, and prosecuting people who do that, or throwing them in jail, what they do is, like, they just, instead of, like, like the little cover that usually is on it, they just fill that in with concrete. And so, like, the next time, like, someone actually has to service that shit, you have to use a jackhammer to break up the pieces that the cement that you filled it in to keep the bums out every single time.
God damn, it's so stupid. It's just, and here's the thing: is like, and I'm not like, why don't you just get a job, Grouch? It's I'm not.
Yeah.
Saying. It's
It's not the killing them softly
Grouch.
solution. It's like, get a job, Grouch. Get together, Grouch.
No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and of course, me too. Like, I work with the homeless, and and I'm not. And I'm not saying that, and I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just, I'm realistic. All these people who, the people who are screeching their lungs out because they try to clear out Echo Park or MacArthur Park, of all the homeless people, and say, "Oh no, how dare you? It's so cruel for you to, make them move or displace them." It's like, motherfucker, they're living out on the street. They're shitting in a box. All right, and you think you're being compassionate to these people? Go fuck yourself.
You're not. Like, what have you done to make their lives better? You gave them a better box to shit in, like they're a fucking cat.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Before they were shitting in a cardboard box, now they're shitting in a plastic box.
you think that's compassion? I don't think so. I think that getting them some actual help to get them off of, either finding them like medication so that they're not like talking to like the three demons that are on their shoulders, or help to help them get off of drugs or alcohol or whatever, like because this isn't like the depression era bums that are just like
Right.
hard on their luck. This is not that type of like that lovable bum that's at the rail yard that we all know and love.
The tramp.
Yeah, it's not that, and I wish it was. That would make things a lot easier. It's like I think it would make things a lot easier for people.
Mm-hmm.
But like the people that we are dealing with that are homeless now, are some of them hard on their luck. Well, all of them are hard on their luck, obviously,
Right,
but like it's because of a variety of reasons.
Right.
Some of it's mental health, some of them are schizophrenic, some of them are hallucinating, whatever. And then you have the people that are so blitzed out of their gourd that they might as well have like mental problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like I said, it's not the lovable bum of like the 30s that the tramp. It's not that. And letting them letting them live on the street and shooting up like heroin with the safe needle program and
Provided them
shitting
by the state.
box. Yeah, and shitting in a plastic box, that's not helping anybody.
No,
And
exactly.
in a lot of ways, if you think about it, like especially with like when it comes to like the safe needle program, you're just promoting like you want to get rid of like drugs and all that stuff, but you're just promoting, you're helping that like you're giving those people more power because now the government is backing it in a lot of ways. Oh, here's your heroin and fresh needle.
Mm-hmm.
And now of course that's going to be, oh, that's not true.
Yeah,
They actually didn't
dude,
get
in a sense, the government just instituted a freaking, take a penny, leave a penny policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like leave your needle, take a needle.
Yeah.
So, like if we didn't give them these fresh clean needles, they'd be sharing needles, and that will spread more disease, as opposed to fucking letting them keep doing drugs.
Yeah, they're giving out heroin kits, Andy.
Yeah, now what is it? Yeah, and like they even give them Narcan. They give them Narcan for overdoses in these kits. I think the whole Biden free crack pipe program, that was to hide his son's degenerate pictures.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
No, for 100% sure. Because like, what do you like? Because what are you gonna do? Biden crack pipe. And it's gonna be all these stories about it's like, is President Biden giving out crack pipes to in a government program? It's like, fact check, partially true.
At least the one crack pipe addict.
Yeah, no, but it's just like, but that's just the run cover for his son, because as soon as you type in Biden crack pipe, those are the stories you're gonna see. You're not gonna see the stories about video of Hunter Biden, smoking crack with, prostitutes.
No. But I just like said, what we talked about like a few weeks ago. I want to see. I want there to be something that is done as far as like I said. I think what you guys do with like the mobile shower ministry that you guys are doing, yeah, maybe it's only once a week, but you've done more to give these people dignity than anyone else I know. And
thank you.
Like I said, if I had the ability to donate millions of dollars to something, that would be what I would donate to, because I think what you guys do is so much more important than like anything that the government can do, anything that a lot of these charities that supposedly are, oh, we're helping this, and oh well, you donate this amount of money, we're gonna raise these funds and we're gonna raise awareness. It's like no.
Right? And
I don't
then exactly. And then
we
like,
don't need
we have to have a party to bring up more awareness, and we're gonna charge like $10,000 a plate.
Yes.
Then but then we have to pay for the party, and then we have to pay for the office building, and then of course we have to pay for the coffee maker, and then whatever we have left over we'll give to the poor.
This is like it's like the Krusty the Clown album of sending our wishes down the well.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's like, well, we had to pay for all the limousines. That's not free, and
recording time. So have to pay the studio, and then the record company, they get their cut.
Yeah. And for me, it's just like it's one of those things where I'm like, what we need to start finding people who are actually doing something. They're not like that. Like I said, with the mobile shower, if I had the ability to give you guys millions of dollars, I would do it in a second, because you guys are doing something so important, and giving you guys millions of dollars would make a huge fucking difference in the valley. How many because you just have like the one mobile shower. How many more?
Well, I mean, we're partnering with the San Fernando Rescue Mission, and they throughout the week actually. Yeah, I mean, don't think that this service is only available like once a week, but the shower truck itself, it goes to different throughout the week. It goes to different locations. My church is just one of several different locations. There's one in church in North Hollywood, another one in Chatsworth, another one in Reseda. But yeah, our church is just one stop on the trail, as it were.
But how many more locations could open up like in the valley to do that and give people some dignity and reprieve during the week?
Mm-hmm.
And because the homelessness crisis, it's all over Los Angeles. Whether it be the San Fernando Valley or downtown LA,
or the county in general.
The county in general is suffering. It's not. And I think that we should, when it comes to charitable donations,
mm-hmm.
I think a lot, and I say this to the entire, quote unquote conservative community, because I think a lot of times they're very charitable,
mm-hmm.
but they throw their monies at the wrong. They throw their money at the wrong thing. Like, oh, well, this charity, there's this charity and that charity. And it's like, well, yeah, but when you look at like what those charities are doing, like they're not actually, your money is essentially being thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
And because I used to give to like a lot of charities, and I don't do that anymore because they're not actually doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been trying, when I do donate, I try to find ones that are more, what exactly are you guys doing? Like, are you really helping people? Are you on the ground level trying to do something about whatever it is, like homelessness or drug addiction, whatever? And is my donation, is that going to something that's actually gonna help?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to. I don't think it's. I don't think it's a good thing to just like, oh well, the Red Cross is doing this, or or to the Red Cross, or to this charity or that charity. It's like, well, they're not really doing anything, and like they've become. There was a time like that they were really good, but that time has passed, and it's possible that there are other charities that have stepped up and actually kind of covered the gap.
Right.
While these other guys, they call them like, oh, we're non-profits. Like, yet the guy that's running the thing has, like a $20 million, a $20 million a year, salary. It's like, how is that like? How is that helping anything? Why is he so? Like, why is that guy making so much fucking money? It doesn't make any sense. So, I encourage people to
really like think locally. Find a local charity and like, research them and make sure that they're not just a grift or a fly by night operation.
For me, like like right away, a red flag is, well, we help raise awareness. Okay, no,
that's
no. Nope.
Yeah, it's like the whole like, oh, we're raising awareness for breast cancer. Motherfucker, it's 2022. Do you think we don't know about breast cancer?
Shit, people are getting cancer in their breasts? God. No one alive today is thinking that, okay?
Exactly. Yeah. So So what a red flag? A red flag is a charity that says that, oh, we're bringing awareness. If it's something that you've been aware of, it's likely that other people are aware of as well. And that's bullshit.
Unless it's like some sort of like rare disease that like just popped up and like we need. Okay, that's a different story. But who the fuck in 2023 doesn't know that cancer exists? Cancer exists like in all there's leukemia, there's bone marrow cancer, there's all sorts of cancers. We all know about it.
Yeah, talk to me when they discovered nail cancer. All right, cancer of the cuticles.
Yeah.
All right, then you can talk about like, oh yeah, we need to make nail cancer. We need more nail cancer awareness. Okay, fine, that's fair.
It's like if we, and this might be kind of like well, this is going to be controversial if I say this, but like, to be honest, even like when it comes to like, oh, let's donate to like such and such cancer research fund. Here's the thing though. I'm sure I'm not saying that there is like a cure that there's a cure for cancer today, but do you think that they're going to give that shit away for free? Fuck no. They're gonna try to find some way to monetize that, and we got to make money off of it. Now, but there are charities.
Yeah, but you need to charge $30, or no, $200 a pop for the medication.
Yeah, exactly. That's bullshit. Here's where I think that if it came to like cancer stuff, like, okay, listen, we don't have a cure. But we do have these treatments, and by you donating your X amount of dollars, we're gonna help these families that are going through cancer so that they don't have to like it's a very expensive treatment.
Right. Yeah. But like subsidized or fully covered.
It's gonna help these families so that they don't have to pay for it. I think that like for me, I was like, okay. I think that's perfectly reasonable. Hey, you know what? Some people are going to make it.
That would actually be a worthwhile charity. A charity that helps pay for cancer treatments.
I would gladly donate my money to that because, like, hey, listen, we don't have a cure, but like, it is we do have treatments that we can use to help maybe help mitigate the complications of cancer. Or help people, kind of like overcome it. But it's very expensive. Would you be willing to donate, almost like, maybe not necessarily a GoFundMe or whatever, but like, a charity's like, hey, we're going to give, you donate your money to us. We're going to make sure that these families that are, whether it be kids or adults or whoever, we're going to try to help mitigate their cancer costs, that the insurance companies don't cover or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hell yeah, I would do that. And I think most American people would willingly do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I'm not gonna raise awareness to cancer. Like, what the fuck does that do for anybody? That doesn't do anything. We all know that cancer's here. We all know that, like, these certain diseases exist. Just what are we doing as far? Where is that money going? It's just going to fund parties to, raise money for more parties later on, and it's a virtue signal. It's
Yeah.
not anything. But let's put our money to things where, and the people who are going through cancer are still suffering. Like, they're not or whatever disease, they're still suffering. They're not actually being helped. So, like I said, it's the same thing with, like, the homeless crisis. It's like, there's billions of charities out there, like, oh, we're helping the homeless, we're doing this, blah, 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 but they're actually not doing anything.
I
And
mean, yeah, like, in again, not that government is wholly ineffective in this matter, but government is only effective to a point, right? So,
well, exactly.
so give all of the religious organizations and charitable organizations the minor cases. All right, you take the extreme, and the government take the extreme cases. The people who are like off their, who are just nuts. Who are literally barking at the moon. Government, you take those cases. We'll take, the churches, the religious organizations, the charities. We'll take all the other cases.
We'll take the drug
We'll
and
take the
alcohol
yeah.
addict and
We'll take the down on the luck, guy who lost his job because of the pandemic, or this guy who just who just got out of jail on a minor charge, not like a violent offense, and he just can't get his life together at the moment. We'll take those cases.
yeah,
All right, those people who are like cracked out of their minds and barking at traffic and screaming in babies' faces. Yeah, you take those cases.
and help us with that. We'll take the rest.
Right,
I think
exactly.
that would be a great compromise. Like, with, I hate this, government and private sector working together. I think that's something that is a worthwhile endeavor for.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying that the government needs to give us money to help these people,
No,
because yeah, we'll take on the burden of helping these minor cases, and the government take care of the extreme ones, right? Through institutionalization, you know, through you know through medical treatment. All right, you guys handle the extreme cases. That's all we're asking. You take care of the extreme cases. We'll take care of the minor cases.
exactly. And I think that would do a whole lot to change. Well, hell,
Right.
it would change the valley if that was the case.
Absolutely, and they need to start trying to tackle the problem instead of the I know it's hard to pin down cause for any one person, but you know stop trying to mitigate the symptoms and tackle the cause. And right now, that cause is weak policies on crime.
And and sometimes, as cruel as it sounds, sometimes being imprisoned would help some of these people out tremendously.
Yeah, I've heard there's countless stories where I've heard people like who are on drugs or who are just kind of like just being knuckleheads really, and like they really messed up and they go to prison and it's like or they even just spend a night in jail. It's like, holy crap, I gotta turn my life around, and that is enough. I
I
like
can think of
there's so many stories that I've heard from people that say, oh yeah, the best thing that happened to me when I went to jail.
one great example of that. Malcolm X. His life changed when he went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, all like I said, it sounds cruel, right? Like, but like, you get those people away from living on the streets, shooting up, drinking themselves to death, and it's like, oh wow, like you get them away from that stuff. You get, and it kind of it forces them to get clean. They obviously, like, the withdrawal effect. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, but I know I've heard that it's really awful.
Yeah,
But
the shakes, the headaches, yeah, the
I I
nausea.
I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. But when they get over that, and they will, because you're not gonna die from that. It's just
Right, yeah. This too shall pass.
you get them away from that, and while there's still gonna be that temptation later on, it's like, whoa, like my head is clear for the first time in a decade, and now, oh wow, it's like I can see clearly for the first time in like a long time, and now I can get to work in fixing myself, and
Right.
that's
But yeah.
sometimes jail helps.
True. Yeah, and actually like mean it and not like this, cash this bail crap. Because like, what do you think? Like we have like those flash mobs of people like robbing stores, is because they know that if they were to get caught, they would just be like revolving door, like in
Ah,
out boom, nothing.
oh, you're bad.
Oh yeah, like don't do that again. Slap on the wrist. Get out of here, you knuckleheads.
Oh,
You
get
know,
out of here, you level tramp. Yeah, it's like you scallywag.
right. Yeah, but if we're not if we're not enforcing the basic, because there's still laws on the books. There's camping outdoors is illegal, and yet for some reason we've allowed it, and now we have fucking RVs parked along our streets.
Dude, I have one on my street.
There you
It's
go.
like it's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and I mean
And
it's like,
people
oh well, like people will cry pandemic. It's like that was 3 fucking years ago. It's over.
yeah,
That time is over now. All right, and and if we don't, okay, it doesn't matter if we do do all these programs or whatever. If we don't start enforcing laws, it's just gonna keep getting worse.
yeah.
All right, and I mean
Uh,
like even like the smallest stupidest laws, and that's and that's no camping on the street. That's it. You see all these tents everywhere. Like that's fucking camping.
yeah, but yeah, I think a huge solution. Um, Obviously, like when it comes to, if you don't have the time and you're donating to charities, find ones that are actually doing something. Don't just give to like, oh, I'm gonna give to the Red Cross or I'm gonna give to this, like, because majority of them are not doing anything. They are just taking in money.
Right, and like yeah,
So
and get to know some of your training. Go volunteer and see what they're about. Don't just be don't just cut them a check. Because it's
they,
easy. It's easy for you to just cut a check, but take if you're and then that's all you want to do, but at least spend one day like at that charity and like volunteering.
it's like,
And see what it's see what
and
what it's about. See what what the environment is, the culture of that specific charity, and see what they're about. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, if I was taking donations for our mobile shower thing, I wouldn't say like, yeah, just cut me a check. I'd say, hey, first come down, spend some time, at volunteering at the thing, and if you think it's worthwhile, then yeah, cut me a check. Cut us a check.
yeah, and it's like, talk to the people involved. Like, talk to the
Yeah.
people who are there
Yeah, talk to
every.
the people, talk to the guests that come and use that service.
Hey, is this helping you? Like, do you feel like is this, like people who are, taking in that charity? How do you feel about this? Like, does this help? Like, in any way? Like, does it give you some sort of reprieve?
Right,
And
and
if
then yeah, it could
if
also and it could it give them a sense of dignity, and then also like if we had more funds, then maybe we could then start at least some of the homeless people that we do know, we could start like having them be kind of like staff, and like give them a job, and maybe give them a little stipend here and there.
yeah, and I remember there was like one charity that I worked with for a little while back in, was I in high school at the time? I don't know if I was in high school or if I was like just out of high school. It was through my church, and the group that we worked with, like, I mean, this is before things got, like nowadays, like, Skid Row is like so bad, but like, I mean, it was bad then, but like, it's even worse now. But like, the group that we worked with, they worked exclusively on Skid Row, and these guys, they were former homeless. It was a couple, and it's like, yeah, we were homeless, and we were part of this group. Like, we know all the ins and outs, and like we were here, and they became Christian. They did all that. We got clean. We did all this stuff, and it's like, now we spend all our time here trying to get people out of this life, and they were trying to get people clean, find them work, find, kind of, give them dignity, kind of like what you guys do with Mobile Shower in a way. And it was just, it was quite an experience. And like I said, if I had money, I would have given those guys a bunch of money, because they were doing some good work down there. And unfortunately, now it's just gotten so bad. It's just kind of like this, like, giant tsunami that you can't do anything about. Like two people can't fix that problem.
Right.
It's hell, 30 people can't fix that problem. That is a
Right.
giant
Right.
problem
But
that
it's yeah, it is funny because some footage, this old ad, PSA kind of thing, resurfaced again of Gavin Newsom, basically saying the same old like tired things, saying like, oh, it's like we don't have a homeless problem, we have a housing problem, or we don't have, and it's like, and this is back when it was like, I think it was like 2009, when he was like, I think he was vying for the mayor seat of San Francisco. He was
yeah.
talking, and yeah, and he talked like the old tired talking points about, oh, it's not a drug thing, it's a food thing, or it's not, homelessness isn't a crime thing, or isn't or as a mental health thing, it's a housing crisis. And it's like, again, you're not even tackling the symptom. You're completely fabricating a diagnosis.
Yeah.
It's like, a patient comes in and says like, "Oh, doctor, my elbow hurts." Oh, well, obviously, because it's because you have ticks. You have Lyme disease. It's like, what? How would you even know that? So you didn't even run any tests. Like, oh, I know that it's the reason why your elbow hurts is because you have Lyme disease.
Yeah. Here's the other thing about, like, when they say, oh, well, we have a food crisis. Okay, here's the easy fix for this. Because what people don't know is that, oh, if their crop is doing so well, the government pays these farmers, and like, the people who cultivate these crops, they burn them. And they pay them to burn them, when what they should be doing, okay, we're gonna pay you. We'll take the excess, so you can still do your price fixing, which is still fucked up. But
Yeah.
okay, you can still do the
that's
price.
right. There's no such thing as scarcity.
Yeah,
There really
you
isn't.
can buy the excess, and then you donate it to places where, like, hey, we don't have food. Like,
Yeah,
can
a
you?
soup kitchen, or fucking give. I mean, I don't think they. I don't think hospitals necessarily make their own food anymore. But if like hospital food program, or yeah, there's so many ways that you could like do. You can do so much with like the excess. But again, like it's a false scarcity, because especially with food, there's no such thing as a
There's
food scarcity when it comes to food.
we
Because like
like
one
California.
tomato will give you enough seeds to make 50 plants, and those 50 plants have 50 seeds in them, and it's exponential.
California alone could feed the fucking world.
Oh yeah, yeah. Our agricultural infrastructure is huge.
It's fucking insane that we
Yeah, we
we
throw
we
away
the
more food
government
than we throw away
pays
more food
farmers
than
to burn shit
yeah.
to keep the prices at like a certain level.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
That's it.
like yeah, tomatoes. Like, do you think tomatoes would be like? Last time I checked was like, let's say like $2 a pound. Dude, if there was no like government intervention, like of like burning farms or letting fields go fallow, dude, tomatoes would be like 1 cent a pound.
And like I said, I'm not saying that the farmers shouldn't make money. Like, that they're doing hard work, like that a lot of people don't want to do. I'm not saying that they shouldn't make money. Okay, I'm not trying to
Right.
make
Neither
money.
neither am I.
And the thing is, okay, if you want to do your price fixing government, sure, that's okay, fine. What I don't like it, but okay, whatever. But you're paying people to burn crops, to burn shit. How about instead of that, why don't we take the stuff that you're telling them to burn and just give it away to people who can't afford food?
Yeah,
You can do it
pay
around the you
whatever
don't have to do it
price.
in this country. You don't have to do it just in this country. We can do it around the world. Send them overseas. Do something. Don't just let it go to waste. I think there's gonna be some sort of you know uh what's the word I'm looking for? There's gonna be some sort of reconciliation for that of some sort. Like, there's gonna whether through in this life or the next, there's gonna be something that's gonna happen. Like, you literally destroyed food that people could have eaten. You essentially you forced people to be hungry because of what?
Yeah, yeah, it's messed up. There's gonna be a reckoning. Yeah, in this life or
Thank
the
you.
next.
Reckoning. Thank you. That's the word. I knew it was an R word. I just couldn't think of it at the moment.
Yeah,
A reckoning. Yeah,
but yeah,
there is
yeah.
going to be a reckoning.
Well, yeah, it's like yeah, yeah. These are the but we really have to start cracking down somewhere. And again, like we can't just deal with the symptoms. We have to deal with the cause. And I know again it's if you want to talk about cause, and we have to stop we have to stop drugs or we have to stop crime. But but you have to start somewhere, and I think we have to get back to enforcing laws. And we and you know and even just simply just start enforcing the no camping law, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. And if some people they go to jail, then they go to jail, and maybe they maybe and for some it'll be the best thing for them.
As crazy as that sounds, yeah. I know it sounds
I know
harsh.
it
It
sounds harsh,
sounds mean,
but
but
yeah, it's just like for too long now we've been under this this feminine, like, oh no, compassion, understanding. It's like, no, 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 no more of that. All right, we need strict, hard daddy justice. You know, yeah, daddy, daddy's gonna let you touch the stove for you to learn that it's hot. And I
yeah.
think we have to get back to that. It's like no more camping. Let's start there. No more camping.
I think us in SoCal, we should start really peppering our representatives. Like, hey, we gotta end this shit
Hmm.
because it's not right. It's not right. It's not good for them. It's not good for us. And honestly, mainly, it's not good for them. It's not dignified.
No, exactly. And that's why. I mean, I don't know if you checked like the recent like local government kind of government version of C-SPAN, but like there's constant people there's constant activists coming in during meetings shouting like, oh no, you can't make it illegal for people to camp, or you can't make it illegal to shit in the street. Compassion, compassion, compassion. It's like that's not compassion. That's enabling. That's permissiveness.
It's like what we saw in The Whale. It's like, you're gonna let
Yeah.
this man eat himself to death. You're
Mhm.
gonna let like this like the whole movie is about enabling these horrible behaviors,
Mhm.
and you're just gonna let that happen. Like, you like, literally, this man is eating himself to death, and these homeless people are unfortunate. They're killing themselves, and you're just letting it happen. In fact, not only are you letting it happen, you are helping them have it happen. Whether they die by the elements or through drug use or alcohol use, like, yeah, you're
Yeah.
enabling them.
Yeah. Or they get stabbed by one of their fellow homeless people.
It's fucked up.
It's fucked up. 100%. So yeah, well, we talked about this longer than I expected, but
Yeah, I didn't expect to talk about that as long as I did,
yeah.
but
Yeah. So yeah, I thought this was gonna be a relatively short one, but yeah, let's keep things moving along. So yeah,
all right.
yeah. But yeah, next topic is of course if you guys and I kind of hope that you are, but if you haven't been paying attention to the news lately, a Chinese satellite, a low altitude satellite on a balloon, help it Chinese. It's so weird because like when I think satellite, I think of space, but this was on a balloon.
Yeah,
This was on
right.
a balloon. So is it still a satellite? I might say yes, but it's still kind of confused. It still kind of tripped me up. But yeah, so a Chinese satellite, held in, suspended in the air by giant balloon, you know, flew over the continental United States this past weekend.
No,
Um,
it was just the Chinese version of like Phineas Fogg trying to like travel, go around the world in 80 days in a hot air balloon.
there you go. Yeah, my name is Phineas Fogg. I go around Earth. I go around Earth so fast. Yeah, but apparently it came in through over the Aleutian Islands in Alaska, and then came down through Canada, and then into the continental United States, um, and it traversed the breadth of our country, of the continent, and then finally was shot down off the coast of Myrtle Beach in South Carolina.
Good fucking god! It just
And yeah, there have been conflicting reports you know conflicting statements made by the White House. President Biden came out and said like, oh yeah, I gave him the order to shoot it down back when it was still like over Montana or whatever, but then they didn't actually shoot it down until it reached South Carolina.
bullshit. No, he didn't.
Yeah, but then and then there were reports of you know uh, the military the jamming the satellite from transmitting, but the the Satelloon, let's call it, the Satelloon was still able to make course corrections. So they were so whoever the Chinese admit that it's there. So whichever Chinese pilot was on the other end of it was still controlling it um, via radio or whatever. So it's like were you jamming just certain frequencies or were you jamming the whole thing? Because if you're jamming everything, the Chinese pilot, which should not have been able to control the balloon, the Satelloon.
Yeah. Well, Joe Biden, was recollecting his days with Jules Verne when he wrote Around the World in 80 Days.
Right.
Because they're contemporaries.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, yeah, it makes the country look fucking weak. Is
Oh
all
yeah.
hell. It's like you have this foreign country who is definitely our
A rival.
adversary. Yeah, they're a rival, and you have. This is not the first time that they have been allowed to do. They've done cyber attacks. They've done this shit. They've done all sorts of things to try to, like, as far as, spy shit. Which honestly, I don't. I understand why they're doing it. Okay, yeah, obviously they're gonna do it. Okay, no problem. But the fact that we have a government that has just allowed them to just like run roughshod over, oh, China's doing this. Oh, okay. Oh, whatever. Yeah, it. Well, because and when you start to realize that, like, a lot of these guys, we have a you know what's his face who's like fucking a Chinese spy. You have
Swalwell.
Yeah, Eric Swalwell.
Or Swallows well.
Yeah. Or was it Dianne Feinstein had, like, her driver for like 20 years was a Chinese spy.
Although
You
it
have
is a small miracle that this Asian driver did not crash at once.
That's fucked up. I like that. Uh, but yeah, you have all these people who have been bought and sold and paid for by China. It's just like, and they're part of, like, and they have important positions in the government concerning foreign affairs. Of course shit like this is going to happen. Oh, well, these people are in power, so we're going to just, because China's not dumb either. They're not dumb. They aren't. The people in their government are not dumb. I'm maybe some of them are, but I'm just saying that.
Well, yeah, but they're not dumb. They might be incompetent, but they're not dumb.
Yeah, and it's like they see, like, when the tides are shifting within our own country. It's like, oh, well, we have a dementia patient.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it's admitted by their government, or I don't know, I forget who. It's admitted that because there's no such thing as private ownership in China. So basically, the Chinese government admits that they, like, on TikTok, they push more radical, gender ideology crap in the United States, but then for their own people push more traditional values.
yeah, because they're not stupid.
Because they're not stupid. But then, like, all of, like, these contradicting stories or contradicting statements made by our government, it just like, again, to your point, it makes us look incompetent, and we are, or at least this administration is. Because not only were, like, there's these contradicting statements saying, like, oh, I gave them the order, but they didn't, like, shoot it down for another 2 days, or, oh yeah, we were totally jamming them from transmitting, but yet the balloon was still making maneuvers remotely, and then of course which ultimately leads to obfuscation or equivocation by saying, like, oh, well, under Trump there's 3 Chinese balloons that crossed our border. But then you had Trump come out on his on Truth Social saying, it's like, I don't remember that. Basically, and then the revelation that Jim Mattis, Trump's Secretary of Defense, came out saying, like, yeah, there's some stuff I did pull back from the president. Which then, are you fucking stupid? Like, that's opening you up to treason charges.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is, like, honestly, if that's true, that guy should be fucking hanged. Like, it's like, you allowed foreign governments to spy. You specifically, like, did not do anything against foreign.
Him and Milley. Because after, like, Trump made that statement about, like, oh, China better watch out or whatever, he then called a Chinese counterpart and be like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll make sure that you guys don't get attacked." That guy should be that guy should be hanging too.
Yeah. Yeah, shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck? And instead, the Biden administration could have taken a big win. It's like you shoot down this shit. It's like, oh well, we did something that the Trump administration did because there was all this other stuff that took place during his administration. Well, we took action right away. And if that's true, I mean, like, okay, yeah, you're right. It's fine. Like, and you did want, like I said, a broken clock is right twice a day. It's like, hey, you did one good thing, cool. But yeah, it's just like this petulant, like 4-year-old, like they're like 900-year-old people that are acting like 4-year-olds. Just and oh well, it's not. We actually didn't do a bad job. It was actually the Trump administration that did a bad job that allowed this to keep happening. Fuck you, okay? Like, and I'm not even saying like we talk about like we actually. I think we're one of the few people that actually like were I think fair to Trump. Like we called him out on stuff that was not good, and we enjoyed the things
we call
that
our
were
strikes
like,
and balls.
Yeah, exactly. Like we did what actual. I think we did a better job than actual journalists. People were in the journalist profession did with him, because we don't like the shit that he did with all his COVID policies were horrible, and that's something that like Biden just kind of continued stuff, but like Trump.
Yeah, but Trump was the one to implement them first. Yeah, he was the one that enacted them first. He was going to open up in on Easter, but then he fucking cucked to Anthony Fauci.
Yeah,
and kept it closed down for and then up until like the elections, and then after that Biden just ran with it.
And we just talked about like last week. We just talked about all the Pfizer controversy, but and Trump was one of the people that kept like promoting these fucking people.
Right. Yeah. I mean, every interview he says like, "Oh, I guess you can consider me the father of the vaccine," and it's like, okay, like you want the credit, you got it.
Yeah.
And that's like with everything that comes with it too. Like all these people who are dropping dead, who are having these cardiac events, who are getting diagnosed with myocarditis, pericarditis.
We could literally handle anybody that is
initially Bell's palsy. When it was initially released, people forget, but there was like all like these these weird like Bell's palsy cases that are happening like after people got the jab.
Yeah.
You even have like famously you have Justin Bieber, who now has like this weird facial tic. I'm not necessarily saying that the vaccine caused it, but it happened after he got the vaccine.
Right. But yeah, it's crazy to think about. Like, and like I said, we've essentially like we've handed victory over to whoever rivals Trump, either in the primary or the general. It's like if you really want to get at him, like this is his huge problem here.
This is his blind spot, and he hasn't pivoted. He hasn't
been
like
he hasn't.
He hasn't self-corrected. He hasn't self-corrected. And that'll be his undoing.
Yeah, but yeah, like all this stuff's like, okay, Biden administration, just who gives a shit about? Stop finger pointing. Like, all you have to do is just shoot the fucking shit down, unless of course like it is like you're bought and paid for by China. That's okay. We already kind of expect that anyways from you people. And it's not like you're the first administration that has been kind of owed money to foreign governments. I mean, the Clinton administration was famous for that. And I'm sure like it goes back even further beyond that. Like it's just So I'm not even like blaming you for that. It's just like stop. Finger pointing doesn't do anything. Nobody gives a who gives a shit about like what Trump did at this point. Like he's been out of office for 3 years. Oh well, we just failed to shoot down it in time. You know, we got to it, but like it was really Trump's fault. It's like, okay, come on.
Right.
Who
Well, then
he
also,
has
yeah, like they again, like the cope was like, oh, well, we didn't want to shoot it over land because the falling satellite, the debris could have hit like uh, civilian population. That's why
oh
we waited. That's why
shut
we
the fuck.
waited for it to go over water, and it's like that's fucking bullshit. Because when the safest place for you to shoot it down was over bumfuck Montana.
There's nothing there. There's like five
Exactly,
cows.
Montana is like it's the grand population of Montana is like 1 million people at most. You know, it's like not densely populated,
No, it's not.
right? And then and like they said like, oh yeah, like we shot it over the ocean, but like the debris scattered like what, like 7 miles wide. It's like,
No,
yeah, it's like,
Los
but
Angeles has more people than Montana does as a state.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
people,
And even if it was, and if like the balloon was over uh like like kind of like near Death Valley, it's just like, how many people fucking live in Death Valley?
like 10.
Exactly. Right? Or you let the people know, it's like, hey, we're gonna do this, so please like stay in your houses or go into your cellars, and if there's any damage, we'll cover it. Boom, problem solved.
Yeah, just in government we have to get over this whole idea like, oh, let's just keep blaming the past administration. It's the past administration's fault. We're doing something. It's like, okay, honestly,
Yeah,
there
Biden's got nothing. He has no successes. He has no victories.
I have to say that honestly, this is probably the in my lifetime, this is the one administration that has had zero success in anything. I think they failed at everything.
Literally.
I mean, at least like I think Trump had like some good stuff. He had some bad stuff too. And like I said, I hate the First Step Act. I think that was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the COVID stuff was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But then you even look back at like all these other administrations, like they've at least had something that they could look on as like a positive. There's nothing positive about this what we have now. It's really bad, really bad. And and yet I still find people who are like, I remember it's like where I even mentioned like like earlier in the week where it's like, well, someone was like talking about like some of the I think we were talking about the Chinese air balloon. I was like, yeah, well, the guy doesn't even know what fucking decade he's in, for one. And it's like, oh, are you one of those people that you think that like Biden is like dementia laden? It's like, no, I'm not. I didn't even watch the fucking news. Like, I can just like watch his speeches, and it's like the guy doesn't know where he is. It's like, I've had my grandmother, my great grandmother. I have people in my family who have dementia. It's like I know the signs. Like the guy doesn't know where he fucking is. And but here's the thing: is like when it's like my family members, like we unfortunately had to put them in a hospice of some sort, like because they don't know where they're at, and that's okay. Like it's unfortunate. It's a sad part of life, but I wouldn't want to make them the fucking leader of the United States.
Yeah. Let them lead your family.
Exactly. No one's. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. My aunt, like, yeah, she too, like, suffered from like dementia. Well, not dementia, maybe, but more like sundowning. But like, no one was saying that she needs to lead the family.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, and it would be irresponsible of us to do so. Um, and so I don't know what this. So I don't know like what the cope is like. You know, trying to make excuses for Biden when anyone, even if you like, if you're not familiar with dementia, you can tell that there's something off with this guy. The way like and don't tell me like it's oh well he has a speech impediment. Are you making fun of someone with a speech impediment? It's like, bitch, I can't use a knife and fork simultaneously. All right, I think I let I think like I'm gonna call a ball, a strike a strike. That's it. You don't need special knowledge to know that there's something not right with Joe Biden. And again, like a part of me has compassion for him because this is, in a lot of ways, this is elder abuse. This is a man who should be enjoying his time away from politics and just be a grandfather, be enjoy his golden years or whatever. But here we are, pumping him full of like God knows whatever drug to keep him cogent long enough to deliver words on a page. And it's a form of elder abuse. It really is. You can't convince me otherwise.
You're exactly right. It's really sad to see, and it's like, well, every time I feel bad for him, I'm like, I look back at like the past and like and like some of the shit that he said has said, and like when he is cogent for like the for 4 seconds, and he does say something, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, he is a shit bag. It's like, okay, well maybe I don't feel so
Right?
bad for him.
Yeah. And I mean, just like, and even like going back to his past, like he's a liar. He's a known liar. People have known about this man for decades, about how much he lies. He lied about his family background. He lied about his wife's background, or not Jill Biden, but I think his first wife, about how
Yeah,
she was like the first one in her family to go to like. It's known that he plagiarized from other politicians' speeches, like
back
RFK,
in 1988,
and then
like, you know,
yeah,
it's like,
RFK, and then some British politician. Like
yeah,
he like plagiarized the man's family history about like about being minors and whatever. He lied about being the top in his law school class. Getting his grades being so good that he got a scholarship to whatever such university. He's a known liar.
yeah. I don't understand how people buy into this shit half the time. I'm like, come on.
You know.
It's like,
Yeah, and I mean,
and listen, I'm no
man.
like,
Okay, a man is
I
known by his fruit. A man is known by his fruit, and what is greater fruit than one's own child? Look at his son. Look at Hunter.
yeah, and like I said, I'm no radical either. Honestly, like I'm actually like fairly tolerant on a lot of shit. That was like, we're like, okay, fine, like that's your lifestyle, that's the way you want to live, go for it, dude. I really don't give a shit. But when I speak out about it and stuff, it's like, yeah, the dude's a fucking liar. Like or this these politicians who are really awful. Um, I don't like Biden. I don't like the Squad. I don't like Obama. I don't like these people. And well, hell, even people on my side, I don't who claim that they're on our side. I'm like, I don't like this person either. Politicians and pundits alike. I'm like, yeah, I don't like this person. I
Yeah,
don't like what they
Cocaine
stand
Mitch. I don't like him. Kevin McCarthy. He's a squish.
for. Yeah. Um, and it's like I don't like those people either. And so, like I said, I feel like I'm like a man on an island somewhere, like in the middle of nowhere. Like I don't belong anywhere because
Yeah, I
I
mean, yeah, really, yeah. I mean, yes, we have a leaning, but we're like we're politically homeless. Dude, remember like a few like last month or maybe 2 months ago when we were like agreeing with like the Taliban because they were like,
God, yeah,
you know,
right. It's like, God damn, I'm agreeing with the fucking Taliban for God's sakes. Like
yeah, because
I
they were burning the poppy. Like as soon as America left, they burned the poppy fields.
yeah, I have more in common with the fucking Taliban than I do with our government sometimes. Like, yeah, am I gonna join the Taliban? Of course not.
No,
But
but we're saying that there's slight overlap, on certain issues.
yeah, I agreed with the Scientologists and the Taliban before I agreed with people in our own fucking country. I never thought that those things would ever happen,
Right?
but they did.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah. Again, not everything. Not we don't blanketly agree with these groups, but on
no,
certain issues there is overlap. That's all we're saying.
but there was this like weird window where Tom Cruise and the Taliban made more sense to me than like people within our own country.
Exactly. That's right. Oh yeah, the drug companies. Yeah, like yeah. Now it's funny like because I think recently they came out. I think we did cover it though.
Yeah, last week
But
we
that yeah
covered
that the drug companies are coming out and saying like after years of prescribing, mood elevators, or whatever, like Prozac or Xanax or whatever, they're showing that it had no effect or very little effect.
yeah, it was all bullshit,
It's all
and
bullshit. You
it
might
was
as well you might as well have tried to like find a 4-leaf clover and kept that in your pocket, as much good as
it
those
was
drugs would do.
experimentation.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing like they had severe effects. I mean, look at all the people who are like
Yeah,
quote unquote mass shootings. They all have that same. They're one.
yeah,
A lot of them are
the vacant stare, the mile long stare. They
because
all had it.
they've been on Ritalin and Xanax and all this stuff for like a decade, right? And it's
Decade
like
plus sometimes.
because they had ADHD, they had this, they had that, like all this stuff that was supposedly prescribed to them. It's like no, they didn't want to sit in a classroom for 8 hours
Yeah.
a day.
The problem was that they're in a school system, they're in an education system geared towards girls, and they didn't act like girls.
Do you notice that not all, but the majority of those people, they are white males?
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't hear about Tyrone, little Tyrone being put on Xanax
I think the one
or
exception
or
was
Ritalin.
the kid from or the young guy from the in that what the Uvalde. That was like I think that's like the one exception
Oh right.
with the fucking coward cops. Oh my god,
Oh my god, yeah.
that story gets
What was the total number of cops that they had there on scene? Like something like 200 like cops.
yeah.
Jeez.
If I was a oh I mean I cannot wait to sue the shit out of that city. Oh man. Oh I can I like it's like I said, it doesn't help, but I'm gonna burn that fucking city to the goddamn ground. If I was a parent in that city and my kid was hurt or killed, oh, I'm gonna tear that shit to the fucking foundation.
Mm, but yeah, the whole balloon thing. It's again we're getting contradictory information. We're getting obfuscation and equivocation from this administration.
Par for the course. Par for
Par
the
for the
course.
course, But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know exactly where we go from here. Although this has only fueled my space being fake theory. The satellite was attached to a balloon, people. A balloon.
You know what?
NASA is the biggest consumer of helium on the planet. Helium. Helium, people. Helium. It's like, oh no, they use it for rockets. Really? You sure about that? You know what was used to fill up that Chinese balloon? I wonder.
I can't say that I'm quite there with you yet, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite there yet, but I understand what you're saying.
Yes. Oh, yeah, another thing is, do you know how fast the Earth rotates? What the speed of the Earth rotation?
I forget what like people say it does rotate at. I don't remember. Is it like 10,000 miles an hour or some shit like that?
I don't know. Well, let's just say.
I'm going off of, like I said, I don't know.
Right. For the sake of simplicity, though, let's say 1,000 miles an hour.
Okay.
Okay. How would you ever land a plane ever again? Okay, let's say like going east to west, right? You're leaving New York to go to LA, right? And then you're off the ground, you're no longer restricted or constrained by the gravity of the earth, and the earth keeps going spinning in circles. How do you ever land again?
See that, so here's what my thinking is. Sure, like as far as like the earth is spinning at like that rate,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of like how with like you watch Interstellar, right?
Right.
Remember like towards the end of the film, like where you have like the where after Matt Damon's character like kind of fucks everything up, and there's that explosion and it causes like the one space station to like kind of like rotate at like that speed, and you have to like kind of, and Matthew McConaughey is trying to like kind of match it. I'm almost wondering if like based off of like the gravity that we do have to our actual Earth, that it does like so. In essence, we are also spinning at that rate in some way. And even though like a plane goes up to like 10,000, whatever, like 30,000 feet, right? Well, there's still like that amount of gravity. We're not like they're not outside the atmosphere.
Yes, but they are free. They are free of the gravity, though. They're wholly suspended above the earth.
To a degree. If those engines stopped, they're gonna fall to the fucking ground.
Yes, but do you fall like why aren't you like so if the plane like if the plane's engines cut out, right, and they're falling, why how are they not like if the earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour, how are they not landing in the ocean?
Like I said, like I said, my scientific knowledge is not there. I'm not saying that like I disagree with you. I'm just saying like
Right.
this is.
But it's a common sense thing. Okay, let's do a simpler thought experiment. You're riding in a convertible, right? Car going 60 miles an hour. You jump into the air. Do you continue to follow along with the car?
I think for a certain time, but like not. You're gonna.
Yeah, that car's going 60 miles an hour. You jump into the air. Do you continue to travel with the car at 60 miles an hour? If you were to jump straight up.
But honestly, to me, the idea of the Earth rotating at 1,000 miles an hour, to me, that feels a little bit more theoretical. Like I don't think it's actually You're
Well,
rotating it.
it's still rotating it, right? It's still rotating.
I'm not saying it's not rotating. I'm just saying it's like it's not rotating at that fast of a speed. I don't know, because to me like that's all theoretical. You know,
Okay.
like I said,
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
fair enough.
I
I
have
know
not.
you're not there. You're not there, Robert. You're not there. But when you
I'm
start
not.
seeing it, when you start seeing it, you'll see it.
I'm not where you're at, Andy. I'm sorry. I'm not there yet.
Trust me. When you start seeing it, you're gonna see it, and you're gonna be like, whoa. But yeah, we got a little bit off the topic. But
We'll revisit this because I do
yeah.
think it. Like I said, like I said, I'm not like, how dare you ask that question, Andy? How dare
No, of
you?
course not. Yeah, and I get it. You're like, you are where you are on the subject.
I like the thought exercise. You know me.
Yeah.
I will join you in on whatever thought exercise you want to do, whether it be the flat Earth or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, trust me. When you get there, you'll be amazed. I promise you that.
and
Yeah. Although I wouldn't say I'm a flat earther, I'm just a globe skeptic.
you're not convinced of like the perfect sphere model.
No, because that just goes into like relativistic nonsense. It's like, oh, like, especially, because since we are both believers, we're both Christians. It's like, oh, we look up to God, in the heavens. It's like, oh, well, like, what about the people in Australia? Are they looking down at God? Are they looking down up? Are they looking down into heaven? As they, relatively speaking, because of
Yeah.
the
Well,
of the shape.
you know what? That's gonna be. I think that's. We should make that a thought exercise at some point because I do have when it comes to like to that actual like mode of thinking, I actually do have a thought on that. That
Right. Yeah, and I'm not even saying that it's like. I'm not saying that it's flat. I'm just a globe skeptic.
fair enough. Like, no, I'm not. No, but and I'm not talking about like the actual like your skepticism on the globe. I'm talking about more of like the idea of like, or Australians looking down. Like, I don't see it as like I think the idea of us like looking up to God, like we say that, but I think that's more of a
Well, because
it's like a
it goes to our relative positions on said globe.
right. Yeah, it's a misnomer because we're not looking down to hell. We're not looking up to heaven. It's a dimensional level thing, and like I'll get into that another time
Right.
because I have my own theories on that.
All right, fair enough.
Maybe like maybe next week because I don't know like what news topics are gonna be exciting. I'd love to talk about that. I think that would be a fun topic.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. Let's round out tonight with our movie review, and
Oh, I'm looking forward to
call it a
this
stream.
because before we started the stream, you were when I asked you, it's like, what do you think about Paris Lewis? And you're just like, oh, we'll talk about it on the stream. I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Right. I mean, yeah, no, I know you probably took a negative connotation to that, but I just, I would rather save it and talk about it on the stream.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, okay, so yeah, we'll begin our movie review. Just to remind you all, tonight's movie is Paris Blues, starring Paul Newman, Joanna Woodward, Sidney Poitier. I'll hit you all with the synopsis and we'll get going. All right. Despite being far from home, American jazz musicians Ram Bowen and Eddie Cook are content living and working in Paris. Ram knows it's the best place for him to develop his musical reputation, and Eddie is far away from the racism that once greeted him on a regular basis. But after meeting and falling in love with American tourists Lillian and Connie, the pair must decide whether the artistic integrity is worth abandoning. This movie, again, Paris Blues, released in 1961, directed by Martin Ritt, music composed by Duke Ellington. And it's based on a novel.
Yeah, it is. Do you want to know who was initially supposed to play Ram Bowen and Joanne Woodward's character?
Yes, I am. I was very intrigued by you telling me that there were alternative castings.
Yeah, so Ram Bowen was supposed to be played by Marlon Brando because Marlon Brando's production company was a co-producer of this film, and the role that Joanne Woodward's character, which was what's her name in the film? It was
Lillian.
Right? Lillian. Guess who that
Lillian.
was? That was supposed to be Marilyn Monroe.
Whoa, bro.
That is a fucking different movie.
Oh, dude, that is a totally different movie. Oh my god.
God. Yeah, this movie would be so different with those two.
Wow.
Can you imagine? I can't imagine the film with those two together.
No.
With Sidney Poitier and the other girl that plays what's her face? I can't think of her name right
Connie.
now. Connie, yeah. I can't imagine that pairing.
Dion Carroll. Yeah, Dion Carroll.
Yeah, I can't imagine that pairing at all.
Wow, that's such a different movie.
But so I think it was and there was also there was supposed to be a different director who bowed out, and Martin Ritt took over. I don't know who the other director was. And Martin Ritt is actually a really good director. He did him and Paul Newman were together on a lot of different projects. One of the pairings of Hollywood that kind of gets forgotten about, but they're kind, it's like the Mifune, Kurosawa, De Niro, Scorsese. Yeah. It doesn't get talked about.
Bale.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so initially it was Marilyn Monroe ducked out first because scheduling conflicts, and then they brought on Joanne Woodward, but who had done a movie with Brando before, but apparently it was a Sidney Lumet project, and they did not get together very well. They did not get along very well. And so I think it was because of that where Brando was like, well, I'm going to just step away. And that's when Paul Newman took over. And it just made more sense because they, at this time, Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman were married. And I think they ended up doing like 16 films together. Like it was crazy. I don't know if they were because I don't know if that counts all the times where Newman was directing and Woodward was in the film. Or if it was like if it was 16 films where like they were in the same film together, I don't recall that number.
Right.
I did watch.
Well, at least it's 16 times that they worked together.
Yeah, like because I did watch.
In whatever capacity.
Yeah, I watched the docuseries. I don't remember if it was them like they were in 16 films together total, like working together, or if it was like 16 times that they acted together. But this is one of the ones that they acted together. And God damn, that would have been such a different film with Brando and Marilyn Monroe. Holy crap.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I do like you do see like the chemistry between Ram Bowen and Joanne Woodward's character, Lillian, together. They are honestly, you feel the sparks between them because, one of the reasons why you feel the sparks is because while this movie is going on, Joanne Woodward became pregnant with one of their one of
One
their
of the
children
children.
during the production. So when the film ended up coming out, she ended up giving birth to one of their kids. So that's one reason.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, don't you feel the sparks between them, right? Like it's just like that.
Right. It just felt like kind of natural.
Yeah, and it was more of like, she was the aggressor.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted.
She sought him out.
Yeah, she just like saw him at like the train station. It's like, fuck, I'm gonna get with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And she was the character of Lillian. She was a single mom who lived in a small town that didn't really do anything super important, and she saw this like super hot like musician, and it's like, you know
Yeah,
what, like
she was familiar with him. And so
she
yeah,
knew
she
his
probably felt that she probably thought that this was like her lucky day.
yeah, and she knew his music. I'm sure, I think she was like a jazz connoisseur,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
so she
jazz fan, groupie, whatever you want to call
yeah,
it.
and there was some sort of like connection with him, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna get with this guy. I'm gonna kind of get in there.
Uh-huh.
The other thing I saw about this film, and I don't know if you caught this, is we just did an episode with our friend James about Whiplash, and Miles Teller's character was talking about how, like, oh, I can't be with you because I have this passion for music, and if
Yeah. Right.
you're in my
Yeah.
life,
Same story. Yeah.
blah
Same
blah blah.
story.
Yeah. Well, they of course took that from this film, because that same speech essentially is given by Paul Newman's character of Ramboan. It's like,
Right.
you want this from me. It's like, I can't give that to you. I am dedicated to the music. I can't give you what you want.
Right. Yeah, and if I did, then I just resent you for it.
Exactly. It's the same message. Like
Yeah.
it goes back to, like, the idea of we talked about with, like, plot versus story, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, you can have kind of like these similar, the similar plot lines, but the story is different because the characters are different.
Mhm.
This is one of those things. This and Whiplash are so similar.
Mhm. Right. Because in this one it gives you the exact opposite choice in Eddie's character, who does decide to give up his music to be with the girl.
Oh, okay. So this is gonna raise the question I want to ask.
Mm.
Um, do do you think so? You believe that Eddie actually does give up his life in Paris to be with Connie, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, just in terms of what is presented in the movie, like he says he's going to, so and it ends with not like with no new information or him stating to the contrary. So I think we can only assume that he does give up his music or life in Paris.
I think he does too, actually, to be honest. I think
Mm-hmm.
he was, because I think we get that, like, that small moment with him and Connie, like at that like little gazebo,
Mm-hmm.
where, like, man, I've never felt like this way with any other woman, and it's like, he is beyond overjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but the thing that is it's not that being with Connie is not tough.
Right.
What's tough for him is that to be with Connie requires him to go back to a country where he is not comfortable living anymore.
Right.
That he has, he'd been living in France for 5 years.
Yeah. It's 5 years.
I think him and Ram,
It's stated in the movie by one of
yeah,
them.
him and Ram, I think, have been living in France for the same amount of time. I think they went. I think they traveled to France together.
That's logical to
That's
assume.
my assumption.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
logical to assume.
yeah, and I would say that with Eddie, dealt with like a lot of like horrible racism. It's makes sense. Like he was in the 50s, when he left,
Mhm.
and which was not a good time. Depending,
Right. If we're to take the date in which the movie premiered as chronologically succinct with the
right.
movie, then
So it'd
yeah,
be 1956, 55 maybe,
yeah, 51. No, wait. This movie came
because
out
this
when?
movie came out in 61. If it's
Oh,
if it's
61. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Then yeah. 5 years. That's yeah.
So he
That's
moved to
56.
Paris
56.
with like at 56 at the
Mhm.
latest,
Mhm.
and he found a place where he doesn't have to worry about race. All he has to care about is playing the damn music, which is what he wants to do.
Mhm.
And I don't think he ever expected. Yeah, no, like where Ram kind of probably just like ran through a whole bunch of women. Um,
Yeah, and he has a somewhat loose association with that Marie girl. I think
yeah,
it's
the club
Marie.
owner.
Yeah, the club owner.
Oh, they totally did it,
Uh,
dude. Like a
yeah,
bill.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Marie Soel.
Yeah, that is a regular booty call between those two.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't think Eddie is the same way. Like he says,
No.
like I don't. To be honest, I think Connie is his first girl. I don't think he's been with anybody. I think he said that to like be more like impressive to Connie. He's like, oh well, yeah, I've been on this bridge with like a girl or two or maybe three.
Mhm.
But I think he was lying. I don't think he's been with anybody.
Mm, I'm gonna disagree with you on that, but I think yeah, I do think Connie is the one that got under his skin.
Oh, yeah, that is 100% true.
Mhm.
I don't. I think he was. I kind of think he was embellishing the entire time, like not
Well,
lying,
maybe
but like
yeah, yeah. Like maybe it wasn't three, maybe it was only two.
because he doesn't want to come off as like, oh, I've been with all these women and like, but now you're the real one. Like I.
Mhm.
But thing is, like, I also don't think that he want to be like, you're the only one I felt this way about. I don't. I don't think that's true. I think there's been girls he's been interested in, sure, but like I don't
Mhm.
think he's actually ever pursued them until
Right.
Con.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, but I think the one thing about Eddie though is I think he's much more honest than Ram, and because I think he understands himself better than Ram knows. Like he's more he understands himself better than Ram knows Ram.
Well, I just think he's. I don't think Eddie's as obsessed as Ram is. It's like yeah, Eddie cares about music and he wants to be he wants to be a good musician, but Ram is trying to be somebody.
Okay? What do you think about Paul? What do you think about Ram? Like, what do you think about Paul Newman's character? Like, what's your impression of him?
Well, I mean, he's not that complex. He's a man obsessed. He, you know,
The-
he's obsessed with music. He's obsessed with, but he's more obsessed with being somebody. Like his again, like he has aspirations outside of jazz.
Do you think like so the way that the movie opens up, because we know that he obviously we know he's a musician.
Mm-hmm.
We know he plays at like especially this one particular club in France.
Mm-hmm.
We know he's been in France for a while, which is at least 5 years,
At least
if
5 years.
not more.
Mm-hmm.
We know that um, there's that initial like kind of that initial scene like going to the train station where Louis Armstrong's character was it what's his character's name? It's like Wild
Wildman Moore.
yeah, Wild Man Moore, where the fucking train station's going nuts that this guy's coming to town.
Right. Mm-hmm.
uh, I think that do you think that bugged Ram? Do you think that bothered him?
Over Wildman's notoriety?
Yeah.
Bugged him? No. Aspire to? Yes.
Okay, so he felt that like he wanted to have that, right?
Right. Yeah. Not that he was jealous specifically of Wildman, but he did aspire to have that same acclaim.
Now here's the thing where like obviously Ram knew Wildman more because he just walks up into his train car and it's like it's like oh yeah, probably they played together at some point, I would
Right.
assume.
Yeah. Back in the States or whenever.
Yeah, and he shows him his the music that he's written and that's the idea, that's the title of the film, Paris Blues. That's the song that Ram wrote, was Paris Blues, and that's kind of always in the background of the film, like that he is writing music. Well, he wrote at least this one song, and it's like, well, in Wildman Moore, I think, and I think to me, this kind of sets up the film. It's like, man, why are you writing music? Like, that takes all the fun out of it. Like, just play the music. Like, who cares? Like, don't write it. It's like, well, let me check it out. And he liked it, but like, it's kind of like more like, that's kind of like the running theme of the movie. It's like this song that Ram wrote, like, just does not get received very well. And I think that kind of overall really destroys Ram. Like it's okay, actually I would liken it more to this Ram writing his own music, and like how it was received is how we see, like, it's kind of that decision between Fletcher and what's Miles Teller's character in Whiplash? Andrew. It's their connection where it's like, I could give up or I can press through. It's kind of the same thing, like, because people kind of look at like Paris Blues and are like, I don't like it. Like, it's not, it's okay, but it's not good. And it's like it's like Ram could like say like, well, okay, I get, you know what? Let me just play my music. I'm gonna go with this woman that I like, and I'll play music over there, and I'll make a good living. Whatever, it's okay. Or I could press through, and I could hone my skills, and stop fucking around, and do what I need to do to become, like have like an entourage like Miles Man Moore does. And I think ultimately, like, by the end of the movie, that's what he chooses.
Yeah.
Because like this is like kind of like a very it does have like a little bit of romance in this movie. I mean, hell, they're in France, for God's sakes. But like it's very difficult, because I think to a certain degree Ram likes Lillian, but Lillian's more obsessed with Ram than vice versa.
Right.
And then you have Eddie, who we actually don't really know his motivations. We don't know, like, is he dedicated to the music? Or I mean, I guess in a way, like, I think the reason why he stays in Paris, it's not necessarily for the music. It's just because he likes the life that he gets to live there. Like, he doesn't have to.
He's not hassled. He's not hassled in Paris.
He gets to live who he is, and no one.
Who he is, or how. Yeah. He gets to live like who he is and however he wants to live.
Like you said, like, when we see the kids, like, who call him, in French, they call him, "Oh, thank you, black man," but it's not out of animosity. It's like, wow.
It's like, not saying it's like, yeah, it's like, come here, boy.
Yeah, it's like,
it's not that.
It's more. yeah, they're calling me what I am. Okay, okay, yeah, no big deal. It's not out of any sort of hatred or like whatever
Mhm.
or racism. It's like, oh yeah, I'm the
It's like I am a black man.
yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And for Connie, that's a problem. Like she just like I kind of don't quite know Connie's like issues. Like if I'm in a country where it's like, wait a second, I'm not discriminated against, I'm not called certain things. Like why would it's like, wow, that's cool. Like maybe I should live here. Like maybe I can. And well, especially with her, it's like, oh, I found this like successful jazz musician that like I can be with that I love and he's doing pretty well, even though he doesn't like live in like the super nice place. Why don't I just stay with him and we stay in this place and we don't have to worry about that stuff anymore? But she was more dedicated to trying to
Right. She
like,
was like
no, we
trying
need
to
to,
affect change. Why? Is
yeah,
I think I think she recognized like how great a place that is, and she it just only it only what's the word I'm looking for? It only imparted all the more reason why she needs to make America like that. You
yeah.
know. Yeah, yeah. She was like, oh, spurred. She was spurred.
Oh, that may okay. I didn't think about that, but
Mhm.
yeah, I think you're totally right. It's like, and because the United States is a better country.
Right. Yeah.
So why don't we take like these good things from here that we know and it's like let's fight to make those changes back home, like where you belong. Stop
Right. And
running
I
away.
mean, yeah, exactly. Stop running away. And to a certain point, like, yeah, I understand Eddie's point where it's like, yeah, I don't want to fight. I don't want to be part of that. I just want to, if I can get that here, why not just live here? But Connie does make a point saying like, oh, this isn't where you're from though. This isn't where your roots are. You know. And so, like, yeah, it's an unpleasant truth for Eddie, but like, yeah, he's from an American. He's from America. He's an American. Whether or not you know the the white people in the South recognize that he's an American, he's
Do you
still an
think
American.
do you think Eddie's character is also from the South, just like Connie's is?
It's kind of hard to tell because back then they weren't super, at least in terms of acting, they weren't super worried about authenticity. So like if Eddie was from the South, he didn't necessarily have to affect a Southern accent.
No, I'm not talking about like accents because we kind of get the idea that Connie's from the South.
Right, right, right. Yeah, but then she doesn't necessarily have a Southern accent either.
No, and not everyone from the South does.
Right,
But I'm
but
just
yeah,
wondering
but
if
it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more common to do so to denote, uh, that one is from a particular area, and that is why one might be, particularly in this case, why someone might be more fervent about the cause than say a northern black person.
right. Um, like I said, that's why I was kind of like curious. Like, do you think that they are maybe from like similar backgrounds? Being in like the South or something like that. Like that.
Probably, I mean, because a lot of northern blacks, they're and they came from the South, like at least like around like the late 50s, early 60s. Um, because after like yeah, a lot of like southern blacks moved to the north, and
Yeah.
uh, so yeah, I mean they might have like similar upbringing. I mean, just being black, both of them being black, yeah, I'm pretty sure they had similar upbringings.
I think it's also kind of interesting too how it it was because of Ram that Connie and Eddie meet because initially Ram was into Connie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like he wanted to get at that booty. And
Yeah, but Connie wasn't having any of that.
hell no, she wasn't.
She a respectable girl.
Dude, both of them had like like when Eddie and Connie meet, like man, you see like the fucking lightning bolts,
Yeah.
just like you see with eventually, at least on one side, you see
With Lillian,
with
yeah.
Lillian, she has the Thunderbolts too. She wants Ram so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they sleep together on the first night that they meet. Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's that. You know, it's and she is a woman who knows what she wants, and ultimately, it's kind of sad that she doesn't get it. Um, and I like I said, this movie is very interesting. Like I said, it's a love story. It's a drama. Um, like I said, I brought up Whiplash. There's a lot of um, there's some elements of this film that is in Whiplash.
Mm-hmm.
The music is fucking great. Obviously,
Mm.
I mean, hell, when you have like Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington involved with the film, you know you're gonna get great music. And
Whoa,
uh,
that's weird.
Paul Newman and Sidney Poitier, like they did train on the instruments that they played in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Although it was, I think they did like soundovers with
Yeah, yeah.
popular musicians. That
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. It's
Yeah.
not, not every film can be like Whiplash, where like you
Right.
actually have J.K. Simmons who would train to be a fucking composer, and
Right.
Miles
Or
Teller who is
conductor,
a
yeah.
like brilliant drummer. Like you just, you're not gonna have that in most
Right.
films. And is dedicated to the craft as Sidney Poitier and Paul Newman are, they're not going to just become these like brilliant musicians who can play for the film.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, yeah, they're very old school in that. God, oh, and Streetcar Named Desire. Um, I watched this video essay on YouTube talking about of all people. I mean, I know this is slightly off track, but that Dylan Mulvaney guy, the one that that one
yeah,
that yeah, but they're talking about him and like how like he's an actor and like maybe what he's doing is doing like that new school method thing where it's like because now it's like it's very limited for male actors because like not because not a lot of productions or studios are telling male stories. And so like maybe this stunt of his is like him gaming the system, so he's doing like his method thing to so he can play women's parts. He starts living as a woman so that he can understand what it is to be a woman. So then he can go get women parts. Uh, but I'm getting back. I'm gonna get back to the point. But in Streetcar Named Desire, you had Vivian Lee, of what was it, Vivian Lee?
uh,
The chick who played Scarlett O'Hara.
yeah. I think that yeah, you're right.
Yeah, she's like she was like of the old school where it was acting. You made it up, as opposed to Marlon Brando and like the new
With the
school of
new
like yeah, like the method acting. And so yeah, and like and I'm pretty sure Sidney Poitier and Paul Newman were of like the old school where
well, no. So see, Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman were part of the Marlon Brando school of the method.
were they?
They were.
Oh yeah, they're young enough. Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
that's the thing. It's like so, but they do feel like that old school.
Yeah, like when they're acting, they're making it up.
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, it's Vivian Lee who is a Blanche Dubois
Okay, for
in
sure.
Streetcar.
Yeah,
So
and yeah,
good job.
I told you I was gonna bring it back. But yeah, I mean
We
that
have to
makes
do
sense. Yeah,
that too.
yeah. It's just like it's just like like in Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, you don't expect Jack Sparrow and Orlando Bloom to be actually like fencing masters.
No, of course not.
For their scene in like in the blacksmith shop.
Yeah,
So
but
yes,
like I said, I'm just saying they like I said they did train to like they I think to a certain extent they played the music that Duke Ellington did,
mm-hmm.
but it was,
Right. It was
they ended up
supplemented with other with
exactly, like, because it does look, when you watch them, when you watch that scene, like with them playing musical instruments, it looks very natural. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't.
It looks convincing.
Yeah, exactly. And so they did play the part very well. It just, maybe it wasn't to the extent that like these professionals who did the sound overs for them
Mm-hmm.
did. So it's
Right.
um in that but yeah, like this movie to me was like, I was the initially I was gonna choose the Long Hot Summer, but
Mm-hmm.
I think after, I was like, oh, after we did Whiplash, and then because I wanted to do next week, I want to do Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. I was like, that it was kind of like this connective tissue between like these films. Like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
well, we
Sidney
did this
Poitier.
yeah, we did this jazz film, so like we're gonna do another jazz film, and it's like, okay, well, we're gonna do Paris Blues. Well, Sidney Poitier's in this, and then we're gonna do another Sidney Poitier film. And guess though technically it's a Spencer Tracy film, as you know, and I'll talk about that next week.
Right.
And Sidney Poitier and the girl who plays his fiance, they're fucking dicks in that film.
Well, wait. Well, way to give it away, Robert.
Yeah, but
Anyways, back to this movie.
but I really like this movie. Like, I don't know why. I find it fascinating. Like, uh, based off the conversations, you want Ram and Lillian to get together because I think I think they're good together. I think that Lillian would have. I think had Ram just given in to Lillian, I actually think he'd be a better musician, to be honest. But
Maybe
he
yeah.
is,
It's like
because
because
no matter.
all he knows is like this laissez-faire artist lifestyle, but and he's never had anything grounding. So like maybe that's the missing component of his music. It's not like grounded in anything. Like yeah,
So
you know about one night stands and you know and late night jazz sessions, but you don't know anything about love. You don't know anything about you know coming home to a woman and
here,
loving her and then her loving you and
yeah, here's the thing though. The only so Connie wants to change Eddie,
mm,
come back to America, face the music, face all the racism. Let's change it together,
mm,
so on and so forth. Lillian never tries to change Ram.
mm,
She wants him to be who he is. She just wants to be with him.
mm,
And like you said, like, he had never been with anybody. Yeah, he'd been correct. He's fucked a bunch of women. We already know that. And that's actually true to Paul Newman's life as well. He is, he was that kind of guy.
mm.
Um,
Well, I
but
mean, he
yeah,
had the
like,
looks for it, so
yeah, well, dude, I mean, I'm attracted to fucking Paul Newman. It's like that. He's good looking. It's
mm,
I can't blame the women that threw themselves at him. And but yeah, it's like, but think about it. Like, does Lillian ever try to change Ram? Ever?
no, I mean, I would say she's very agreeable. She
I think she,
never.
I think she would have gone like, hey, you need to play music 12 hours a day? Sure. Do what you have to do.
Yeah, she was never imposing.
Just give me some time. I'll
Yeah,
take whatever time I can get.
yeah. I mean, which kind of goes to like the nature, because their affair, is never long for this world anyway. Because they were, because she and Connie were just visiting for 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, she was supposed to be gone.
She really liked that good deed.
Mm-hmm.
But goddamn, she like slept with him in like the first day that she met him. Like
Yeah.
that's so she's not exactly like like this like super like prude woman or anything like that. She's not trying to change anything. She was like, well, she even said like to Connie, is like, yeah, I'm desperate. Yes. But I think like through that like time together, because we actually don't get to see like we get like the montages, but we don't actually see like the real date, like what they talked about, like anything like that. This isn't like
Right, we see them. Yeah, we see them like doing the touristy thing and going and seeing
yeah,
sights or spending time together, and then like, or at least for Ram and Lillian, like it's like the next scene is like them like in bed.
yeah. This is not like One Wonderful Sunday or the Before trilogy. They are just like, we just get right to the fucking, or at least the after, the afterglow of the fucking, between those two. So I mean, obviously, like he's taking advantage of it, and she wanted it, but it's just like, man, I do
But I don't
kind of.
think but I don't think like they expected to get under each other's skin as much as they did.
Do you think that Ram liked Lillian in a real way?
Not entirely sure.
You're right, because it's not talked about. Like, unlike Eddie and Connie, who like they have that whole conversation. Like, I've never like, damn, I didn't know what I didn't have until I had it, right? Until like I had it here.
Right.
We never have that conversation with Lillian and Ram.
Yeah, because like whatever Eddie's desires was, it got sublimated into Connie, as opposed to Ram, where like his desires or wants never sublimated into feelings for Lillian. Like he still wanted
Right.
to be known as a composer and not just merely a jazz musician, and that didn't change. As
Yeah.
opposed to Eddie, where all he wanted to do was live in Paris and live free from the 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 effects of racism and yada yada yada. But it wasn't. That all got sublimated after he met Connie, and like her passion for the cause and to bring about social change and making the world better and yada yada yada.
Yeah. That's honestly, I can't. I'm trying to think of like what other questions I have for you about the film, based off of you're watching it, but I can't think of anything. How did you think about the film? Did you like it?
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
Like I said, I could have I could have chosen a different Paul Newman, Joanne Woodward film. I just got off of like watching. I did watch there's a whole really great docu-series on HBO about those two, that I really enjoy, that Ethan Hawke produced actually. Um, and that was kind of like the thing that inspired me to do the Hollywood Couples Month. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Like there's a lot of these great Hollywood couples from classic Hollywood. Um, and there's other films that these two did, but based off of oh, we did Whiplash and all that, and I was like, oh, why don't we do this? And Sidney Poitier's in this. We got Louis Armstrong. It's like, okay, well, why don't we do that? And we can connect it to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, because Sidney Poitier's in both. But yeah, I like the film. It's not the best film that those two have done together, but I ended up really enjoying it.
Oh, You got nothing else
Do
on
you?
the.
I mean, do you have any other thoughts about like Paris Blues, like, or any other like questions for me or anything like that about the film?
Not particularly. I mean, you know, even though I enjoyed the movie, I would dare say that this movie is, as the young people say nowadays, it's pretty mid. Um,
Okay, all right.
yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't anything like spectacular, like oh my, like spectacular or like revolution or revelatory.
Yeah. Now, am I gonna give this movie a 5-star rating? No, of course not.
Mm,
Yeah, but one. Okay, why don't you go first with the rating? Like, what are you gonna give this film?
yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay, and just because you're
3.
just like, it didn't like wow you, but it didn't disappoint you at the same time.
No, yeah, exactly. And I mean, if I'm gonna give it a ding for like a, because like I really don't really even have like a ding against this movie, but maybe like the only ding I give is like the subplot of of the coke addicted guitarist.
I don't. That's the thing that I don't quite understand either.
Yeah,
Because,
and like the whole like thing about like Ram trying to like get him off it. It's just like, why? What's the point? Like,
well,
yeah, he's an addict, but he plays like the fucking wind.
here's the thing though. Do you think that? I mean, obviously, Ram is for the music,
Mm.
but obviously he can't do it by himself, right? He needs to
True.
have a
Yeah, he
good
needs a
band
band.
with him, right?
Mm.
Do you think that the reason that he ended up staying in Paris is because he knew that he needed um, Gypsy and the others because they made him look good?
No, not necessarily.
Whoa! See, that's the thing. I
Cause
think
yeah, cause yeah, I think he does recognize that Gypsy has like he has it, right? As they say in the biz, he has it. And like yeah, he's what is it? Not diluting, but or diluting, but he's not squandering. Okay, let's say he's pissing away his talent with, and he's damaging himself with the drugs. Yes, okay,
Well, I mean
but
that's why we had that whole scene at like
yeah,
the
they do
bird
yeah, he does like the Christmas
cake
Carol
sale.
thing. Yeah, he does the Christmas Carol thing and shows them like his potential future.
Yeah, this other like famous guitarist who like wasted himself to this. Like, I know that guy. Like, he was one of the greatest. He's a great guitarist. Like,
Mm.
it's like, yeah, he's been here for like a year because he couldn't get off of like whatever drug. And it's like he's just like like playing
Yeah,
like
yeah, he
shit.
was gone. Yeah, he was gone. Maybe perhaps he recognizes that Gypsy had the talent, but like I think ultimately his decision was self-serving, and so I don't think he necessarily stayed, for the benefit of Gypsy to keep him on the straight and narrow.
So, do you think that he just doesn't care about like Mustache or Gypsy or anybody else?
Or at least not to the extent where he would really sacrifice for them.
Do you think he cares about Eddie?
I think he has a stronger bond with Eddie than he does with the other members of the band.
Mm.
But to call it like, but to say like, do you think he cares? To put it in that phrasing, like, do you think he cares about him? I wouldn't necessarily put it that way. He has a bond with him.
Okay, all right.
Ram respects Eddie. Um,
Okay. Like I said, I'm just curious of your thoughts because these are the questions I had for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, but I
and
wouldn't.
I'm not.
Yeah, it's yeah. I'm not saying that he totally disregards Eddie and doesn't respect him, but I wouldn't like necessarily put it in that phrasing. Like he has a bond with
Yeah.
Eddie. He appreciates what Eddie brings to in terms as a musician and as like I guess as a somewhat friend.
Right. Right.
But I don't know like if he has like I wouldn't necessarily put it in that phrasing.
Um, so, anyways, so you gave the movie a 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, based on your reaction, I was thinking we were going to be wildly different.
Mm-hmm.
I We're actually going to be the same. I'm going to give this movie a 3. It's I think it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. 3 is not a bad rating in
No, of
our.
course not, especially out of five.
Yeah, it's not a bad rating because I actually think that I've watched this movie like 3 times now because basically because I knew we were going to review it.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason, like I said, the reason I chose it is because we were going to be doing Whiplash, and I was like, oh, a couple of jazz movies, back to back, and I like the actors that are involved, and it fit into our theme. So I was like, all right, let's just do Paris Blues. So yeah, like I said, I like the movie. It's not the best movie of all time. It's not the best Martin Ritt film because there's plenty of other ones that are really great.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's not the best, Joanne Woodward or Paul Newman movie, for God's sakes. Like, um, Joanne Woodward, which she won the Academy Award for the Three Faces of Eve, which I've never seen, but I've heard is a fantastic film. Um, Paul Newman's played a billion things. Um, I think. Well, the crazy thing is that he didn't win an Academy Award until The Color of Money in '86.
Wow.
That's insane. Think of all the great roles that he played. He didn't win it for The Sting. He didn't win it for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He didn't win it for Cool Hand Luke. He didn't win it for The Hustler. Are you fucking insane? Like these are all great roles that he didn't win the Academy Award for. Stupid. And Color of Money is probably his weakest role of like his great roles, and that's what he won it for. That just crazy. He
Right. I
didn't
mean,
even
yeah.
win.
I mean, you could say the same thing for Leonardo DiCaprio.
Exactly. He didn't
You
win it
know.
for The Verdict. That's a great film, and he didn't win it for that. Come on, crazy talk. Um, let's see. Yeah, Sidney Poitier. Like, he's another guy that I just bought a film for Sidney Poitier, which is right here. It's Buck and the Preacher with him and Harry Belafonte. It was directed by Sidney Poitier.
Hmm.
And I also didn't realize Harry Belafonte is still alive. I didn't know that. I thought he was
I know.
dead.
I thought by this time he'd be
I
dead.
just found out he was alive today. I was like, what? He's alive?
I know.
Shit.
For some reason, I thought he passed away a while ago,
Same here.
but apparently not.
Yeah, he's still alive. But actually, I think I might. I think I was thinking about like what my next films I'm gonna watch besides the ones we do for the reviews. I was like, I think I'm gonna watch this. Because I've been kind of on the black exploitation trend. Buck and the Preacher sounds pretty awesome. I think I'm gonna watch that. But
Okay, everybody. All right.
yeah, I would say
Well,
3.
nothing else. Three.
No, I
All
got
right.
nothing.
All right. There you have it, folks. That's our review for Paris Blues. Both Robert and I give this a 3. Perfectly respectable rating. I would recommend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just not like the absolute best movie I've ever seen.
It is. It is not going to be the best movie we review this month. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think next week's film is going to be better.
All right. Well, we'll see. Well, I have seen that movie, and I would, and I'm pretty interested in how I feel about this movie because the last time I saw it, I was like still in high school. And it was probably,
Oh wow!
it was like for a class or something.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So it's been, yeah. I mean, like it might have popped up here and there on like you know Turner Classic Movies or something, but I didn't like sit down like stop what I was doing to watch it. Maybe I watched like a few minutes of it and then I just like moved on or I had to go about doing something else.
Yeah, I
So
watched
yeah,
like
I'm interested to see how I feel about this movie, or who's coming to dinner. Now that I'm an adult.
we should get together this week sometime. Not tomorrow, obviously, but like maybe like Thursday or Friday. We should watch this movie together.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see. I'll check my schedule.
Let's try to watch this movie together because I have a lot to say about this film.
Okay.
And honestly, I think that the Sidney Poitier's
Right,
character
yeah,
and his
yeah.
fiance, they're
They're
fucking
assholes.
assholes.
Yeah.
You don't just
Well, yeah. Well, I think everyone in the audience can guess like how you're gonna feel about this movie. But yeah, all right. Well, okay, there you have it, folks. That's our stream for tonight. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. I know Rob always has a good time.
I always have a great fucking time.
All right, not just a great time, a great fucking time.
Yeah, it's like I said, I look forward to every Tuesday. This is my favorite day of the week, and when we can't do this on Tuesdays, I just stare at a blank screen. And I just start shouting stuff.
All right. Yeah, don't forget to check out the library of other content that we have. The Circular Jerks main podcast, nocturnal episodes of Nocturnal Transmissions, of course, and Rob's Gaming Show, Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts, Twitter and Letterboxd at PodcastCOJ, and Instagram at Circular Jerks Podcast. And with all that said, we thank you for joining us tonight. Come back next week and we'll do it all over again. Have a good night.